Chapter 171. This conjecture was like a stone that caused 1,000 ripples. Impossible. Lu Tingxiao is single. He has a son but he doesn't have a girlfriend. If it's really him, then it's going to be big news. So what if it's big news? Do you dare to expose it? Have you forgotten how Vio magazine fell? Of course I remember. It was because they took a photo of Lu Tingxiao and had the audacity to publish it. Speaking up to this point, everyone gave up on that thought. Those who were quick enough to take photos all started to delete the photos with trembling hands. Lu Tingxiao was famous for keeping a low profile in the entertainment circle. He did not accept any interviews from magazines or media outlets. His little prince was even more protected. No matter how curious they were about what happened today and the identity of the woman, no media outlet dared to touch the line of death. In the lift, she lifted her head from Lu Tingxiao's arms. She looked at the big bun and then the little bun. So this is how it feels to be protected. Are you alright? I'll get you to another hospital. Lu Tingxiao's face was still gloomy. He had just found out about the unpleasant coincidence when he came to the hospital in a hurry. Don't bother. I'm fine now. Why don't we go home? I hate staying in the hospital. Okay. Where did those 2 bodyguards come from? She asked curiously. They are nearby. You are in a special situation now. Let them follow you just in case. He would not allow another incident like last time where she was attacked by fans. I haven't even signed a contract with Shengshe and I'm already getting such benefits. She was flattered. Suddenly, she saw herself in the mirror above the lift door. She touched her face in the mirror. Oh, are those reporters blind? They didn't recognize me when I was standing right in front of them. They even said that I'm a good wife and mother, that I'm fresh and refined, that I'm a soft girl, that I'm cute. I'm the stepmother from Snow White or the wolf grandmother from Little Red Riding Hood. That's more suitable for me, right? As she spoke, she looked at herself in the mirror. Then, she realized that she had not put on any makeup and was wearing a loose hospital gown. Her hair was braided into a loose braid at the back of her head, and she wore the pink hair clip that Xiaobao had given her. The expression on her face was gentle and demure. What the hell? She's quite a soft girl. She was shocked by herself. Was she always like this in front of Big Bun and Little Bun? It wasn't like her at all. At this time, after listening to Ningxi's words, Xiao Baozi suddenly took out a pocket-sized notebook that she brought with her. She immersed herself in writing for a while and then eagerly handed it to her. Baby, what do you want to say? She took the little book. After reading it, she blushed. What's wrong? Seeing Ningxi's strange expression, Lu Tingxiao asked. She covered her burning cheeks, her eyes full of accusation. Lu Tingxiao, it's all your fault. Look at your son. What happened? Lu Tingxiao felt quite wronged, so he went to see what Xiaobao had written. After reading it, he fell silent. In the little book, he carefully wrote, 1 stroke at a time, you are the brightest star in the sky. Your eyes are warmer and sweeter than chocolate. When I look at you, it's like I'm looking at a fairy tale princess with eternal beauty. Chapter 172. After hearing Ningxi's self-deprecating words, Xiaobao decided to use his ultimate move. Ningxi was touched and worried at the same time. Lu Tingxiao, Xiaobao must have inherited this from you. He's so good at making girls happy. What will happen when he grows up? I can't imagine how much I'd be attracted to him if he could talk. Especially the last sentence, it was like a stab to her heart. He actually said she was a princess. She had always wanted to be a queen, because that was the only way she could face all difficulties fearlessly. Facing Xiaobao's princess, her hidden girlish heart was hooked. Which girl didn't want to be a carefree princess? She just had no other choice. Lu Tingxiao looked at his son and sighed. This was not just an inheritance, but the student had surpassed the master. Seeing Xiaobao standing there looking up at her with a serious face, Ningxi chuckled helplessly and leaned over to hug him. Okay, I know I'm the most beautiful in your eyes. I won't belittle myself anymore, okay? Only then was Xiaobao satisfied. Imitating what she usually did to reward him, he gently kissed her on the cheek. Ning Shi couldn't help hugging him and rubbing him. Hey, what should I do? I want to steal you away when your father isn't paying attention. Xiao Bao blinked and looked very expectant. He nodded in agreement as if saying, hurry up and steal it. Ning Shi, Fut, Lu Tingxiao. Why did he feel like he was the third wheel? At the same time, in Ning Xueluo's ward, the reporters couldn't catch up with Ning Shi, so they went back to interview Ning Xueluo. Now everyone was frantically looking for Ning Shi, but she seemed to have disappeared. There was no news at all. The reporters stopped at her apartment, the crew, and the company, but they couldn't find her. If they knew that Ning Shi stayed in the ward on the same floor as Ning Xueluo, and that she had just passed by them, they would probably go crazy. Su Yang was worried about Ning Xueluo's health, so he asked a few more questions and interrupted everyone. I'm sorry, everyone. Xueluo hasn't recovered from her injuries and is very weak. Today's interview will end here. Yeah, I'm not feeling well. I'm sorry, everyone. Although the reporters were unwilling, they could only express their understanding. They told her to rest well and then cooperated and left. Chang Li politely sent them out. Thank you for everyone's concern for our Xueluo. I believe that justice exists in the hearts of people and that everyone has their own values. It's not easy for everyone to run back and forth on such a hot day. This is a little reward for everyone's hard work. After that, Kui Keijing, the assistant next to her, began to give out red envelopes to everyone. The reporters were well aware of this, so they all agreed to help Ning Xueluo seek justice. On the bed, Ning Xueluo seemed to have thought of something. She had a suspicious look on her face. Brother Yang, what's with those reporters? Why did they all suddenly run out? Is it really Ning Shi? No, they mistook me for someone else. Su Yang tucked her in, looking a little dazed. Most of those reporters had never seen Ning Shi in person, but he was different. The figure he had caught a glimpse of really looked like Ning Shi. He was almost sure that it was Ning Shi in person. But how was that possible? How could Ning Shi be so intimate with a man, with a child by her side? Chapter 173. Late at night, at the Lu Mansion. Ning Shi had been watching entertainment news online for a while and was about to go to bed when several messages popped up on her SN. They were from Su Yang. Su Yang, Xiaoxi, where are you now? I saw someone in Xueluo's hospital today. Was it you? Su Yang, you really went too far this time. You can't take advantage of our guilt to exhaust our patience with you. Su Yang, running away won't solve anything. You owe Xueluo an apology. Ning Shi sneered and then typed back to him, I bought a watch last year. At this time, there was a knock on the door. Come in. Lu Tingxiao pushed the door open and walked in with a glass of warm milk in his hand. He frowned when he saw that she was still on the computer. Why are you still online? You need to rest. I was about to go to bed, but I felt disgusted before going to bed. Ning Shi complained. Lu Tingxiao walked over and handed her the milk. What's wrong? Ning Shi took the milk and thanked him. Then, without any hesitation, she showed him the chat history. Lu Tingxiao glanced at it and his face darkened. Then, he revealed a suspicious expression. I bought a watch last year. What does this mean? Fut. Ning Shi almost spat out the milk when she heard Lu Tingxiao read it out so seriously. She explained awkwardly, Ahum, that's internet language. It's a classic and straightforward curse. Really? What is it? Lu Tingxiao asked humbly. Ning Shi had no choice but to teach him seriously. The abbreviation of the watch I bought last year is WQNLGB. Well, do you understand? Lu Tingxiao nodded. He understood immediately. Ning Shi breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, the devil had a high IQ. Otherwise, she would have been too embarrassed to say something like go to hell. After Su Yang saw Ning Shi's reply, he immediately sent a lot of messages overexcitedly, asking her to repent and be saved. Out of sight and out of mind, Ning Shi logged out and turned off the computer. Lu Tingxiao was in a good mood when he saw Ning Shi's response. I've already contacted Ning Xueluo for you. Really? What did you say? Ning Shi immediately asked. Lu Tingxiao took out his phone and opened an email for her to read. She hurriedly leaned over to take a look. After reading it, she was speechless. In the email that Lu Tingxiao sent to the other party, other than the evidence and an account number, there were only a few words, not even punctuation marks. 8 million in 24 hours. This was indeed Lu Tingxiao's style. Not bad, not bad. The simpler it is, the easier it is to make them panic. It's pretty good. She nodded her head and praised. When the money is in your account, you can go and talk to Starlight about terminating the contract, lest they deliberately make things difficult for you. When the time comes, I will arrange for a lawyer to accompany you. I've asked Jing Li to prepare the contract for you. I'll show it to you tomorrow morning. If there's anything that needs to be changed, we'll discuss it then. After signing the contract, Golden Era will hold a press conference for you to release the evidence. After that, we'll start the legal process. Lu Tingxiao's low and hoarse voice was like a cello as he calmly stated the next step of the plan and arrangements. She was stunned. She nodded and then asked subconsciously, "Is there anything else I need to do?" "Eat, sleep, and take care of your body." Oh. Chapter 174. At the First People's Hospital of the capital. Ning Xueluo was lying comfortably on the hospital bed, holding a glass of red wine in one hand and scrolling through Weibo with the other. She had never felt so happy before when she saw the people cursing Ningxi online. Kui Keijing massaged her calf and said in a flattering tone, "Sister Xueluo, your legs are so beautiful, long and straight." Actually, they were just a little better looking than the average person. She spent millions on plastic surgery every year. How could she not look better than the average person? Ning Xueluo liked this kind of compliment very much and said proudly, "It's natural." Chang Li, who was standing next to her, felt a little uneasy. She said worriedly, "Xueluo, do you think Ningxi is trying to set us up? She hasn't shown up for so long, has she?" Ning Xueluo sneered disdainfully, "You overestimate her. Even if she is slept with 100 times, she won't be able to turn the situation around." That's true. In the entertainment industry, an artist with such a serious bad record will face the same consequences as Zhou Qingqing. It's useless no matter who helps her clear her name. Chang Li calmed down a little. "By the way, I've just sent an email to Ningxi, giving her an ultimatum. Tell her to come to the company before 6 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, or I'll shut her out. I don't believe she won't show up tomorrow. Remember to arrange for more reporters to wait for her." Ningxi laughed happily. She was replying to the fans' comments about her injury when a new email notification popped up on the top of her phone. Who would send her an email at this time? And it was sent to her personal email address. Ning Xueluo didn't pay much attention to it. She opened it casually and was stunned on the spot. The red wine in her hand spilled all over her body. "Oh, Sister Xueluo, what's wrong?" Kui Keijing hurriedly took a tissue and wiped it for her. "What's wrong, Xueluo?" Chang Li asked suspiciously when she saw Ning Xueluo's frightened expression. "See for yourself." Ning Xueluo threw the phone at Kui Keijing's head with trembling hands. "What the hell are you doing? How could you leave such a big loophole? Why did you send that email in my apartment? Also, didn't I tell you to use an anonymous account to transfer money?" It took Kui Keijing a while to regain her senses. She held her forehead as she read the email on her phone. She was stunned and said in a panic, "Sister Xueluo, you can't blame me. I did use an anonymous account. As for the email, you were there when I sent it, and you didn't say anything at that time." Ning Xueluo smashed her wine glass. "Can't you figure it out yourself if I don't tell you? If you want me to say everything, what use do I have for you?" After Chang Li finished reading the email, her face was solemn. "The thing I was most worried about still happened. I'm just afraid that someone might find out." "Who sent this email?" "Zhong Qiong." Ning Xueluo's face darkened. "Impossible. Zhong Qiong is just a hooligan with a primary school education. He doesn't even know what IP addresses and anonymous accounts are. That's really strange. Anyway, besides us, only Zhong Qiong knows about this. The news must have been leaked by Zhong Qiong. Could it be that he conspired with someone? But Zhong Qiong has long disappeared. There's no one to ask." Chang Li said anxiously. Ning Xueluo walked back and forth in the ward. What's the point of talking so much nonsense? The key now is how to solve this problem. Chapter 175. Chang Li calmed herself down and comforted her. Calm down, Xueluo. The email asked us to transfer 8 million to that account within 24 hours. It's obvious that they're after money. Just give them the money. As long as it can be solved with money, it's not a problem. Ning Xueluo said irritably. 8 million. We only have 1 day. Where am I going to get that much cash? Although she made a lot of money, she spent even more. She usually spent money to please the Ning family and the people in the circle. If we gather the money, we might be able to get it. Chang Li muttered. She thought that the other party really knew how to ask for a price that was exactly what they could afford. At this time, Ning Xueluo suddenly thought of something. Since they can check our information, why can't we? Chang Li shook her head. Is it that easy to check an anonymous account? We have to hack into the bank system. Even if we hire someone, it's not easy to find a hacker of this level in a short time. Besides, so what if we find out who it is? They have something on us. We have to give them the money no matter what. Damn it. Ning Xueluo glared at Kui Keijing, who was hiding in the corner. You can't do anything right. If it weren't for the fact that she had something on Ning Xueluo, she would have kicked her out a long time ago. Kui Keijing wanted to refute, but she didn't dare to say anything. She was really innocent. Ning Xueluo tried her best to recover from the shock and forced herself to calm down. Sister Chang, help me raise the money now. Quick. Also, hire a few more groups of people to make sure that Ning Shi will never have a chance to make a comeback within a week. Xueluo, since we have Zhong Qiong's confession, do you think we should put her in jail once and for all? Chang Li suggested tentatively. No. Although the Ning family doesn't like her, they won't let her go to jail. Remember, don't let her terminate the contract. It's best if she stays in the company for the rest of her life to pay off her debts. Otherwise, if she runs back to the Ning family, I won't be able to control her. Also, in case anything happens tomorrow, I'll arrange a good lawyer for you. Ning Xueluo racked her brains to remind them one by one. Only after making sure that she did not miss anything did she feel at ease. Originally, everything was going smoothly. She didn't expect such a big problem to happen. Fortunately, Chang Li was right. Anything that could be cancelled with money was not a problem. She would never allow anything to go wrong in the following matters. The next day, Ning Shi successfully got 8 million yuan. At 6 o'clock in the afternoon, she went to Starlight Entertainment accompanied by the lawyer Lu Tingxiao arranged for her. At this moment, it was the time for the employees to get off work. Everyone was stunned when they saw Ning Shi. Then they ran around crazily to spread the news, sending all kinds of messages and photos to the group and Weibo. Ning Shi, who disappeared from the world, finally appear. Oh my god. Ning Shi. It really was her. She actually dared to appear. Yeah. How daring. If it were me, I would have run away. Why would I come back? That's right. After this incident, she definitely won't be able to stay in the entertainment circle anymore. She might even be sentenced to jail. It's better to just run away. Did you see the man beside her? One look and you could tell he was an elite. Who are they? It doesn't look like a lover. Could it be an assistant? How is that possible? She's already in such dire straits. How could she afford an assistant? Can't she sleep with a sugar daddy? Hey, I'd like to see what kind of sugar daddy has the ability to settle such a big problem for her. Chapter 176. In the reception room. Seeing Ning Shi, Chang Li showed a smug expression as she had expected. Our superstar Ning Shi is finally willing to show up. I've been waiting for a long time. She looked strangely at the cold-faced man beside Ning Shi and asked, Who is this man? Don't you know that we can't bring outsiders into the company? Ning Shi squinted at her and said, I'm a lawyer. Oh, you even have a lawyer? Chang Li only thought that she was invited here to boost her prestige. She snorted disdainfully, You're still putting on airs and acting arrogantly in front of me at this time. Do you know how big a mess you've made this time? If I hadn't pleaded for you with the company time and time again, you would have been blacklisted. Ningxi raised her eyebrows slightly and chuckled. Ha, you pleaded for me. Then what's the result of your pleading, Sister Chang? Chang Li threw her a speech script. Next, the company will hold a press conference. As long as you publicly apologize at the press conference and quit the cast of Under the Heavens, Lady Xueluo will not sue you and give you a chance to turn over a new leaf. But I'm afraid no crew will dare to hire an artist with a bad character like you, even if I try my best to protect you. Chang Li gave her another date after hitting her with the stick. She said earnestly, but don't be discouraged. If you sincerely repent, the company won't leave you alone. You should know that some directors don't care about scandals. I've just accepted another film for you. As long as you work hard, there's still a chance for you to make a comeback. Ningxi looked at her with a faint smile and said faintly, a big production. I wonder which big production Sister Chang has accepted for me. Seeing that Ningxi had taken the bait, Chang Li looked at her mockingly and said, are you afraid that I'll cheat you? You must have heard of Smiling in the Spring Breeze, right? Ningxi's fingers tapped on the armrest. Jiang Penghai's new film? Yes, it's director Jiang. You know, all the films made by director Jiang are popular. When he was filming in Harbor City, who knows where Guochisheng was? Hearing Chang Li praising Jiang Penghai so seriously, Ningxi almost laughed out loud. Then her eyes suddenly turned cold. Sister Chang, if you want me to sell myself, just say so. There's no need to beat around the bush. Jiang Penghai started his career as an actor, but even after he cleared his name, he didn't get much better. What people criticized the most was Jiang Penghai's personality. This guy was extremely lecherous. He had slept with almost all the actresses in his crew. Last year, he was almost sued for having sex with a minor. It must have been hard on them. They had gone through so much trouble to choose such a blockbuster and such a director for her. Chang Li frowned upon hearing that. What do you mean by asking you to sell yourself? Wasn't it just a little bigger? What, you're not happy? Someone like you, if it wasn't for my recommendation, they might not even be willing to accept you. Think about how much damage you've caused to the company this time. If you can't take on the role, are you going to let us raise idlers? Sorry, I don't want to take this role. Ningxi didn't want to listen to her shameless words anymore and directly refused. Chang Li flew into a rage and pounded the table hard. Ningxi, you've repeatedly disobeyed my orders. Do you still regard me as your agent? Let me tell you, you have to take on director Jiang's role even if you don't want to. Agent? Ningxi sneered. You won't be one soon. Haha, you still want to change agents. That depends on whether anyone dares to hire you. Chang Li was fearless. I want to change companies. Chapter 177. You want to terminate the contract. Chang Li's face finally changed, but she soon calmed down. Ningxi, don't threaten me. Do you know how much the penalty fee is? You have 4 years left on the contract, 2 million a year, 8 million in total. Ningxi gave the lawyer a look. The lawyer took out a black box expressionlessly and opened it. It was full of money, cash. Ningxi pushed the box to Chang Li. Here's 8 million. Do you want to count it? You. Chang Li looked at the cash, dumbfounded. Where did you get so much money? Ningxi looked impatient. This seems to have nothing to do with you, right? Oh, I got it from sleeping with you. Don't be so arrogant. Do you think 8 million is enough? Chang Li threw her a thick stack of termination agreements. It seemed that she had prepared for this. Ningxi took the agreement and glanced at it. The more she looked at it, the funnier she was. Sister Chang, why didn't I know I was so valuable? 60 million. Why didn't this woman rob a bank? She knew it wouldn't be so easy to terminate the contract. These people would definitely try to make things difficult for her. Chang Li became calm again. This is what our professional lawyer evaluated. It stated clearly in the agreement. In addition to the 8 million penalty fee, there's also the loss of the company this time. Because of you, our project was put on hold, our investment was interrupted, and our most profitable actor was seriously injured. All in all, this is the lowest. If you can't pay the money, we'll meet in court. Ningxi frowned. She didn't know how professional this lawyer was and whether he could handle it. Lawyer Chen just skimmed through it. His expression was still cold and emotionless. Seeing Ningxi's hesitation, Chang Li immediately softened her tone. Ningxi, think about it carefully. Do you really want to terminate the contract? In fact, we can discuss this matter. If you don't want to take on smiling in the spring breeze, we can arrange something else for you. I have a few scripts at hand, all of which are big projects. You can choose from them. Ningxi sneered in her heart. Big projects. It must be the same old stuff. Ning Xueluo didn't want her to leave Xinghui because she wanted her to be shackled by her for the rest of her life. She was even afraid that she would give in and return to the Ning family. At this moment, there was a knock on the door. It was Xinghui's lawyer. And there were 3 of them at the same time. She knew one of them. He was Cai Yingyong, the senior lawyer and consultant of Ning's group. Fuck. Ning Xueluo was determined to kill her. Ningxi looked at the lonely lawyer Chen on her side and felt even more uncertain. Chang Li crossed her arms over her chest and said arrogantly, Ningxi, it's not too late to change your mind. Ningxi really didn't know much about this, so she could only look at Lawyer Chen. Lawyer Chen remained completely silent. Ningxi was anxious. Wasn't it a necessary skill for a lawyer to be eloquent? Why did he not only have facial paralysis, but he was also like a mute? Could it work or not? However, what happened next made Ningxi feel like she was watching a fantasy drama. Lawyer Chen stood up slowly and took out a stack of documents from his briefcase. Then, he finally said, First, as far as I know, your company withdrew its investment to threaten the crew. It has nothing to do with my client. Second, Ning's international group has nothing to do with my client. Any losses of theirs should not be counted on my client. Third, your employee was injured in the crew. Your company, the crew, and the insurance company should jointly bear the responsibility. My client should not bear any responsibility before she is convicted in court. Moreover, according to your company's judgment, Miss Ning Xueluo's injury is only a minor skin injury. We should pay 252 yuan and 40 cents at most. Other expenses such as the VIP ward and maintenance should not be borne by my client. Lawyer Chen was 1 against 3. He spoke as fast as a machine gun, and he didn't even pant for half an hour. He spoke until the 3 lawyers were speechless and sweated profusely. He successfully helped her terminate the contract. Other than the 8 million, he didn't have to spend a single cent more. Oh, no. He spent 252 yuan and 40 cents more. Chapter 178. In the end, the other party was willing to settle in private. They didn't even dare to mention the word go to court. Ningxi was dumbfounded. So Lawyer Chen was on cooldown just now. Was he saving energy to use his ultimate move? Chang Li was even more dumbfounded. The other 3 lawyers were also dumbfounded. When Ningxi and Lawyer Chen were about to get up and leave, Cai Yingyong, the lawyer of the Ning family, suddenly stood up in excitement. He looked at Lawyer Chen in surprise and asked, Wait, pardon me for asking, may I ask you, are you Lawyer Chen Jing? The other 2 lawyers were shocked when they heard this. What? Chen Jing? Which Chen Jing? Could it be Chen Dazhuang? They didn't take the taciturn lawyer seriously at all, so they didn't ask his identity. But the more they thought about it, the more they felt something was wrong. Although they hadn't seen Chen Jing in person, they had heard of his style. Usually, he was a man of few words. People who didn't know him would think he was mute. But once he started to work, he was like crazy. He spoke fast and his words were clear. His fighting power was off the charts. Lawyer Chen ignored Cai Yingyong and walked out of the conference room without stopping. Behind him, Chang Li fell into the chair with a pale face. It was over. Ning Xueluo had told her not to let Ningxi terminate the contract, but now everything was ruined. The lawyer Ningxi hired was the top lawyer in the capital, Chen Dazhuang. Why did Chen Dazhuang come to negotiate a contract termination for Ningxi? The lawyer charged by the minute. It was a sky-high price to hire him. Could it be that Ningxi's sugar daddy was Lawyer Chen? Ningxi was still in a daze when she walked out of the Starlight building. She never thought that this boring and expressionless lawyer could be so tough. Were all the lawyers in the legal department of Shungsha Entertainment so powerful? While she was immersed in her thoughts, a large group of reporters suddenly rushed in. Ningxi. Ningxi, are you here to turn yourself in? What do you have to say about the deliberate murder of Ning Xueluo? Ning Xueluo has always been generous and said that she would give you a chance to turn over a new leaf as long as you apologize. Are you ashamed? May I ask if the incident with Zhou Qingqing was also planned by you? I heard that Starlight Entertainment wants to terminate your contract and ban you. Is that true? Those reporters crazily crowded around Ningxi, but Ningxi couldn't fight against so many people. In this situation, it was not good for her to fight with the reporters. She was trying to get away when suddenly 5 well-trained bodyguards in black rushed out of nowhere. In less than 10 seconds, they controlled the scene and protected Ningxi in the middle. The reporters looked at each other. What was going on? Where did these people come from? How could Ningxi, a powerless actress in distress, have a bodyguard? And there were 5 of them at once. Because they didn't want to bring Ningxi scandals and trouble, the bodyguards this time didn't wear the Lu family emblem, but it was enough to scare the reporters who bullied the weak and feared the strong. Ningxi stopped behind the bodyguards and said to all the reporters calmly, "First, I am not guilty. I don't need to turn myself in, and I have no reason to be ashamed. Second, the incident with Zhou Qingqing has been clear for a long time. Please don't confuse the public, or it will be slander. Third, I did terminate the contract with Starlight Entertainment just now, but it was I who proposed it. Fourth, you want to ban me? Try it." Chapter 179. After saying this, Ningxi ignored the uproar behind her and directly got into the black car that stopped over. Fortunately, Lu Tingxiao had made meticulous arrangements. He had probably anticipated that they would be besieged by reporters today. Even his bodyguard and driver had arrived at the right time. "Miss Shi, where to next?" asked the driver. "Let's go home." Ningxi paused and couldn't help asking, "Why do you all call me Miss Shi instead of Miss Ning?" Come to think of it, whether it was the servants of the Lu mansion or Lu Tingxiao's men, they all seemed to call her Miss Shi, Miss Xiaoxi. "It's Boss Lu's orders," the driver replied. "I see. This man was too meticulous. Was it because he knew that she didn't like the surname Ning?" At the same time, in the Lu residence, Lu Jingli slumped on the sofa like a dead fish. "Brother, you've been picking them all day. There are so many excellent agents in our company, but none of them caught your eye. How is Lei Yiming? He has been in the industry for a long time and is experienced. He has connections in the domestic and foreign circles and is familiar with Ningxi. Lu Tingxiao, he is Jiang Mui's agent." Lu Jingli, "Okay. What about Hao Shuai? This has nothing to do with Jiang Mui, right?" Lu Tingxiao, "I don't want men." Lu Jingli's mouth twitched. Then Yi Shenglan, "Top agent. His business ability is solid." Lu Tingxiao, "This person's sexual orientation is unclear. Phut, there are rumors that she likes women." "Oh my god, you know too much." Lu Jingli looked like he was about to collapse. "Then Zhao Meishan should be fine, right? Female, has a boyfriend, Su Yimo's manager. Our company's #1 performance last year." Lu Tingxiao, "His character is terrible." Lu Jingli was completely speechless. "Even the Emperor's concubine selection isn't as troublesome as you. Then what kind do you want?" Lu Tingxiao pondered for a moment, then asked, "Why didn't you give me Lin Jiji's information?" "Lin Jiji is on vacation. She said that she won't be taking any newcomers for a while. I guess she's trying to avoid Jiang Mui. TSK, let's go with her." Lu Tingxiao made the decision. "Ah, brother, you are too cunning." Lu Jingli couldn't help but mourn for Jiang Mui in his heart. Then, he began to mourn for himself. "You really know how to make things difficult for me. Lin Jiji has already said that she won't be taking any newcomers." While they were discussing, Ningxi came back. "I'm back. Is there anyone at home?" As soon as he finished speaking, one of his calves was hugged by a soft little bun. Moreover, the little bun's face had an aggrieved expression of 3 hours apart feels like 3 years. Ningxi hugged and coaxed the increasingly clingy little bun for a long time before she finally smiled. "You're back. Did the contract termination go smoothly?" Lu Tingxiao got up and walked over. At the mention of this, Ningxi's face was full of excitement. "It went very smoothly. The lawyer that the company arranged for me is very good. He fought 1 against 3 and won a battle of word. Originally, Chang Li wanted to extort 60 million from me, but in the end, I didn't spend a single cent more. No, I only spent an extra 250 yuan on Ning Xueluo's medical fees. It was simply too cool. Are all the lawyers in Golden Era's legal department this good? I heard them call him Chen Dazhuang." At this moment, Lu Jingli, who was standing behind him, said, "What lawyer from Shengshi's legal department?" "Chen Jing is the senior legal consultant of Lu Group." "Fut." She almost choked on her saliva. She looked at Lu Tingxiao incredulously. "Lu Tingxiao, you asked your lawyer, who can easily win hundreds of millions of economic cases, to help me handle a small case of 8 million yuan?" Chapter 180. It was as if the emperor had sent the nation's master to help her, a commoner, with a lawsuit over a stolen pig, just in case. Lu Tingxiao answered calmly. As long as it was her business, it was not a trivial matter. She didn't want to say anything else. The devil's actions were always so extraordinary. "Have you finished reading the contract I gave you this morning?" Lu Tingxiao asked. She scratched her head. "It's so thick, I'm getting a headache. Anyway, I skimmed through it and signed it. I'll give it to you later." Lu Tingxiao raised his eyebrows. "You trust me that much?" She spread her hands. "I'll sell it to you and count the money for you." Lu Tingxiao's smile was doting. Lu Jingli. Oh my dog eyes. I'm going blind. He couldn't stay in this house anymore. If everything goes well, you can report to the company the day after tomorrow. You can rest at home tomorrow. Lu Tingxiao said. "Oh, okay." She nodded. Lu Jingli wanted to smash his head. The day after tomorrow? Didn't that mean he only had 1 day to convince Lin Jiji? That was so inhumane. Lu Tingxiao seemed to have seen through Lu Jingli's complaint. He looked at him and said, "You can go on vacation after this is done." "Okay. I'll go right now." Lu Jingli was full of energy. That night, in the ward of the First People's Hospital of the imperial capital, Ning Xueluo was staring at the woman on the TV screen. Outside the Starlight building, Ning Shi, who had disappeared for many days, did not look weak and haggard. Instead, she looked radiant. Surrounded by 5 bodyguards in black, she faced the reporters' attacks with a stern expression. "First, I'm not guilty, I don't need to turn myself in, and I have no reason to be ashamed. Second, Jiao Qingqing's matter. Fourth, you want to ban me? Try me." Hearing the last sentence, Ning Xueluo suddenly smashed the table lamp beside her. The screen sizzled and emitted a burst of smoke. Then, it went black. "Chang Li. What's wrong with you? Caging is fine, but you also made such a stupid mistake. What did I tell you? You can't let her terminate the contract." Chang Li was already used to Ning Xueluo's scolding when something went wrong. But at this moment, her face still darkened. "I told you a long time ago that with Ningxi's qualifications, if she finds a rich and powerful man, even I can't control her. Now that you've forced her to this point, this result is actually within your expectations. Don't tell me you want me to watch her make a comeback. I paid such a heavy price. And I spent 8 million for nothing." Ning Xueluo was hysterical. She could not accept the repeated accidents. "Xueluo, it's not as bad as you think. Ningxi's reputation in this circle has been completely ruined. Even if she finds a sugar daddy, she can't change the situation. Besides, who dares to hire an artist who is banned by Starlight? She had reached the end of her career. Not only that, but think about it, she made such a big deal out of this. She casually threw out $8 million and had bodyguards and luxury cars to pick her up. Who wouldn't know that she was a kept woman? Would the Ning family still treat her well in the future? Would she still be able to enter the upper class? Hearing this, Ning Xueluo's anger finally eased a little. "Have you told the Internet Water Army? Don't worry. I told them as soon as it happened. Besides, even if we don't do anything, those reporters will definitely write about it, Chang Li said firmly. Chapter 181. Ning Xueluo glanced at the latest headlines on her mobile phone, only to see Ning Shi speaks arrogantly, Ning Shi is suspected to be a sugar daddy, Ning Shi refuses to admit her crime, and Ning Shi refuses to repent. She finally calmed down. Okay, calm down the public. Nothing can go wrong. As soon as she finished speaking, there was a knock on the door. Ning Xueluo immediately winked at Chang Li nervously. Chang Li hurriedly cleaned up the broken lamp and covered the TV with a dustcloth. Then she went to open the door. Outside the door, Su Yang was surprised to see Chang Li in Ning Xueluo's ward at this time. Are you talking about something? I just had some work matters to discuss with Sister Chang, and we're done talking. Brother Yang, why are you here so late? Ning Xueluo changed the topic. Then you talk. I'm leaving. Chang Li said goodbye and exchanged a look with Ning Xueluo before leaving. Su Yang didn't notice the interaction between the two. He pinched his eyebrows and looked a little gloomy. Ning Xueluo looked at him and asked tentatively, is it because of Ning Shi? Su Yang didn't speak. Ning Xueluo bit her lip and her body trembled slightly. Brother Yang, are you blaming me? Are you blaming me for pushing Ning Shi to this point? Su Yang sighed. You just like to let your imagination run wild. This was her fault to begin with. Why would I blame you? I just blame myself. I didn't handle it well and let her end up like this. I didn't expect that she would rather sell her body than apologize to me. Why does she hate me so much? What should I do to appease her? Do I really have to leave you? Ning Xueluo looked pained. Su Yang's face immediately changed and he said seriously, Xueluo, don't say that. We finally got together. Are you going to give up because of this? Ning Xueluo hurriedly snuggled into his arms and looked frightened. I'm sorry. I won't do it again. I'm just afraid that you will regret being with me. Su Yang was stunned and then said firmly, I never regret it. As they were talking, there was another knock on the door. Su Yang opened the door and was surprised to see Ning Yaohua and Zhuang Lingyu. Uncle, Auntie, Dad, Mom. Why are you guys here? Ning Xueluo was surprised and quickly got off the bed to welcome them. Zhuang Lingyu pressed down on her shoulder. Don't move. You're injured. Lie down properly. We're just here to see you. Ning Yaohua's face turned black. Xueluo, don't worry. I came here to tell you that I will definitely seek justice for you. Even if I have to tie her up, I will tie her up to apologize to you. Tears welled up in Ning Xueluo's eyes. Thank you, Mom and Dad. I don't really care. I just hope that my sister can mend her ways. She's going to ruin her life. Zhuang Lingyu's expression was abnormally ugly. I didn't expect her to do such a shameless thing. What kind of sin has our Ning family committed? If I had known earlier, I wouldn't have brought her back in the first place. Xueluo is enough for us, but the old man wouldn't listen. Now look at it. Ning Yaohua looked irritated. All right, stop yelling. I'll take care of this. Also, don't let the old man know about this. Now was the crucial time for him to compete with his second brother for the right of inheritance. Chapter 182. Lu's house. Ning Shi coaxed Baozi to sleep and put on a facial mask. She was about to have a good sleep when her phone screen flashed. It was Ning Yaohua. Ning Shi narrowed her eyes and walked to the balcony to answer the call. Hello, what? Don't you know how to call your father? Where's your upbringing? Are you sure you want to argue with me again? I wish you didn't exist in the Ning family. But you have the blood of the Ning family in you. You can't erase it. The dirty things you've done outside, in the end, it's our Ning family that's losing face. Oh, the dirty things I did. Was it Ning Xueluo who said it? Of course it was Xueluo who said it. It's all over the internet. They say you have a vicious heart and don't repent. You are a mistress. You are proud of it and show it off in front of everyone. Don't say I wronged you. I had people wait outside your apartment for several days but you didn't come back. Tell me where you lived these days. Where did the money come from? I warn you, Ningxi, I'll give you one last chance. Come back and apologize to Shui Luo immediately, and I've arranged a job for you. It's in the branch office in Singapore. I've booked the plane ticket. Pack up and leave the day after tomorrow. Oh, he exiled her 5 years ago and now he wants to exile her again. Ningxi said word by word, Chairman Ning, I do have the blood of the Ning family in me, but you didn't teach me anything except a sperm. Even if I lose my face to the Pacific Ocean, it's not your turn to criticize me, let alone meddle in my life. Ningxi, how dare you? Think about the consequences of pissing me off. You. Ningxi hung up the phone and cut off the roar from the other end. This time, she was very calm. There was no anger, disappointment, or sadness. Ningxi. Someone called her softly. Ningxi turned her head and saw Lu Tingxiao looking at her worriedly on the balcony next door. Ningxi was surprised. Lu Tingxiao, you're still awake? Lu Tingxiao walked to the edge of the balcony near her. I heard some noise on the balcony, so I came out to take a look. Are you okay? Ningxi shrugged as usual. It's fine. Ning Yaohua always says the same thing on the phone. I've already memorized it. Lu Tingxiao wasn't good at comforting people. Across the balcony, he reached out and rubbed her head. Don't be sad. Ningxi smiled. Under the starlight, her eyes were calm. I'm not sad. In this world, those who can hurt us are those we have given our feelings to. The more we care about them, the more hurt we will be. But now, I won't get hurt again. Because she didn't care anymore. That time in the hospital was the last time she felt sorry for those people. She would never do it again. All right, I'm going to bed. He still had to wake up early tomorrow. Good night. Ningxi waved at him. Get up early. There's nothing much to do tomorrow, so you can sleep a little longer. I have to get up early to buy groceries. What for? Lu Tingxiao was confused. Of course it's cooking. I promised to cook for you and Xiaobao last time, but it has been delayed until now. You've just gotten better. There's no hurry. It's just buying groceries and cooking. It's not tiring, and I happen to be free tomorrow, so it's a deal. Oh yes, remember to eat less tomorrow morning and leave more room for your stomachs. I'll definitely make you wish you had another stomach. Looking at the girl's smug look, Lu Tingxiao chuckled. Okay. Chapter 183. Early the next morning. Ningxi wore a light pink dress with white low-heeled sandals. She had on light makeup, and her naturally curly hair was straightened and spread over her shoulders. She still had that pink heart-shaped hair clip on her temples. In short, she looked like a very good wife and mother. Lu Tingxiao, who was sitting on the sofa and reading the newspaper, was startled when he saw her. Ningxi usually dressed simply and casually if she didn't need to go to any special occasions. This was the first time he had seen her dressed so ladylike. Ningxi jumped up to him excitedly. How is it? Do I look like a married woman? Lu Tingxiao looked at her, and the light in his eyes was profound. They are very similar. A married woman. What an incomparably beautiful phrase. Heh, that's good. Then I won't be ripped off when I go to the market. Ningxi nodded in satisfaction. I'll go then. She was about to take a step, but her legs couldn't move. Little Bun hugged her again. Ningxi looked at her leg pendant, not knowing whether to laugh or cry. Baby, why are you up so early too? Little Bun rubbed his sleepy eyes and stretched out his arms, indicating that he wanted a hug. Ningxi had to pick him up. I'm just going to buy groceries. I'll be back soon. Little Bun was still hugging her neck. Can I go with you? Just then, Lu Tingxiao asked. Ningxi blinked. Hey, you're going too? I can take Little Bun out for a walk, Lu Tingxiao said. Little Steamed Bun also vigorously nodded his head. Ningxi scratched her head. Of course you can. It's just a place like the market. It might be a bit dirty and messy. I'm not going to a supermarket, but a big market a bit far away. The ingredients there are the freshest. It's okay. Let's go. Lu Tingxiao put down the newspaper and picked up the car key. So Ningxi's one-person trip became a three-person trip with Little Bun and Big Bun. In the underground garage. Looking at the row of dazzling luxury cars, Ningxi swallowed saliva, especially when she saw her idol, Little Bai. Seeing Ningxi staring at the white Bugatti sports car, Lu Tingxiao asked, "Shall we drive this one?" Ningxi came back to her senses and quickly shook her head, "Of course not. We're just going to the market. Why are we driving a supercar? How about a low-key one?" She took a quick glance, but there really wasn't any. How could there be? Lu Tingxiao nodded. Yes. After saying that, he pressed some kind of switch and a black car was transported out from another compartment. It was a family car with a price of around 500,000 yuan, and it seemed to be brand new. Ningxi nodded. This is great. But why did Lu Tingxiao have such a strange car? Lu Tingxiao seemed to see through her doubts and explained, "This was prepared for you when you first arrived, but you have never driven it." Ah. So this was the car that Lu Tingxiao had prepared for her. Looking at Lu Tingxiao's lonely expression, Ningxi felt as if she had made a big mistake. She quickly explained, "That's because it's more convenient for me to take the subway, and there's no traffic." Then she hurriedly changed the topic. "Let's go. If we stay any longer, the good stuff will be picked up by others. At that time, it will affect my performance." Chapter 184. On the way, Ningxi opened the car window. The morning breeze was cool and comfortable on her face. It also blew away the depression that had accumulated over the past few days. Lu Tingxiao turned on the radio, and soft music drifted out of the car. Confession balloon. The wind blows across the street, smiles fly in the sky. You say you're hard to pursue, want me to back off. I don't need the most expensive gift, just the fallen leaves of the fragrant pavilion. Oh, make a romantic date, not afraid to mess everything up. Owning you is owning the whole world, darling. Falling in love with you from that day on, sweet is easy, darling. Don't be capricious, your eyes are saying I'm willing. The melody of this song was very sweet, as bright and lively as summer, but Ningxi felt that something was wrong when she listened to it. They were just out to buy groceries, so why did it sound like a date? And these lyrics? She didn't know why, but she felt inexplicably guilty listening to them. Half an hour later, under such a delicate atmosphere, they finally arrived at the food market. "Do I need to buy you a mask?" Lu Tingxiao asked worriedly. In order not to be disturbed, he didn't let the bodyguards follow them this time. "No need. The working people here don't have time to care about gossip. Besides, I'm so ladylike today, so no one will recognize me. I think you and Xiaobao need masks more than me," Ningxi teased. Although it was still early, there were already a lot of people in the market. The crowd was bustling with activity. Ningxi was worried that Xiaobao wouldn't get used to it, so she picked him up. It was Xiaobao's first time in a place like this. He looked around, his head moving from her left shoulder to her right, looking very attentively. However, Xiaobao had put on some weight recently, so he was a little heavy. Ningxi found it difficult to carry him for a while. Lu Tingxiao took Xiaobao from her in time. "Let me carry him." Xiaobao was already in Lu Tingxiao's hands, but his hands were still clutching Ningxi's neck. Lu Tingxiao looked serious. "Do you know that you're heavy?" Xiaobao looked as if he had suffered a huge blow, like a girl being called fat. Although Ningxi found it funny, she quickly comforted him. "Don't listen to your dad's nonsense. You're not heavy at all, and you can be a little fatter. It's just that it's safer for dad to carry you, and he's taller, so he has a better view." Xiaobao was barely appeased, but he was no longer in the mood to enjoy the scenery. He stared at Ningxi the whole way, as if he was afraid that she would be pushed away by the crowd. Whenever he saw her go a little further, he would reach out to grab her. "Wow, the fish over there looks so fresh." Ningxi crawled to a stall like a loach. Lu Tingxiao glanced at the girl, and then freed his other hand to hold hers. Ningxi was stunned for a moment. She subconsciously looked at her hand that was being held, and her palm felt hot. Xiaobao froze. Ningxi looked at Xiaobao's hand. Ningxi glanced at Little Treasure and found that the little fellow looked anxious. Xiaobao's face. Xiaobao's anxious. Ningxi hurriedly said, "Yes, yes, yes. I've taken a look around. Auntie, your fish is really juicy. Madam, you have good taste. You can go and ask around. They all know that our fish are the best in the entire market. the auntie said proudly. After listening for a long time, Ningxi realized that something was wrong. Why did the aunt call her madam? Clearly, he had misunderstood that they were a family of 3. Chapter 185. Forget it, it would be troublesome to explain, so Ningxi didn't bother explaining. Auntie, give me one. Okay. The auntie was very sincere in her way of weighing the fish and even gave her a lot of weight. After selling the fish, the auntie looked admiringly at the man holding the child in his arms. Madam, you are so lucky. Both your husband and son are so handsome. Even in a place like the wet market, Lu Tingxiao still looked outstanding with a baby in his arms. It was really a talent. Haha, really? But I am also very handsome. Ningxi joked. Yes, your whole family is handsome, especially your little baby. He is so adorable. He has completely inherited the good qualities of you and your husband. Here, I will give you a small one. Ningxi touched her face subconsciously. Inherited the good qualities of her and Lu Tingxiao? It seemed that this was not the first time she had heard of this. Next, Ningxi and Lu Tingxiao, who was carrying Xiaobao, became the focus of the whole wet market. No matter what they bought, the stall owners would give them something. There were onions, garlic, eggs, fish, prawns, everything. Ningxi's basket was almost full. Ningxi looked as if she had found a new way to get rich. She exclaimed excitedly, I didn't expect Xiaobao to have such benefit. I will bring Xiaobao next time. Xiaobao nodded. Lu Tingxiao said, okay. In the end, the 3 of them returned with a full load. Ningxi was in a good mood along the way. She suddenly thought of something and shouted, Lu Tingxiao, do you know my apartment? Turn left at the intersection ahead. Yes, do you want to go back? Lu Tingxiao drove the car to her apartment with ease. Even though he had only been here once. Yes, I will go get my super secret spice. Wait for me. Okay. Ningxi trotted into the apartment and quickly came down with the spice. When she passed the lobby, the receptionist called her anxiously. Hey, wait, it's Ningxi, right? You have 2 packages that have been there for several days. Do you still want them? She then looked at her with a gossipy look, thinking that Ningxi hadn't come back for a long time. She was probably already a sugar daddy. Ningxi pretended not to notice her gaze and directly took the 2 boxes, one big and one small, and left. When he walked to the door, he saw Xiaobao, who was in the opposite car, leaning on the window, anxiously waiting. Ningxi's gaze was warm. The next second, she saw 3 men in black who looked like they had come with ill intentions. They ran straight towards her. Ningxi's reflexive vigilance made her eyes light up. She immediately put down the things in her hands, tore the hem of her skirt, and kicked one of them when he rushed over. Caught off guard, the man was sent flying by the kick. The 2 men next to him were stunned for a long time before they regained their senses. Then, they attacked her with even more ferocious expressions. Ningxi was dressed like a lady today, causing her movements to be restricted. She couldn't immediately deal with these 2 people. As she was fighting with the 2 of them, another person rushed over from behind, grabbed her arm, and tried to tie her up with a rope. Ningxi was about to fight back when the man's hand suddenly left her arm and let out a heart-wrenching howl. She could almost hear the sound of the man's hand breaking. Ningxi looked at the man's arm and saw Lu Tingxiao, who had gotten out of the car and rushed over. His face was cold and murderous, and his hand was firmly grasping the man's wrist. Chapter 186. Lu Tingxiao did not know how he twisted his hand. Then, the man was thrown out and spun in a circle. He fell to the ground like a broken sack and lay there motionless. It was probably because Lu Tingxiao's attack was too brutal that the other 3 looked at each other in dismay and subconsciously retreated. Are you okay? Lu Tingxiao turned to Ningxi and his eyes were still filled with hostility. Ningxi nodded. I'm fine. She had never seen Lu Tingxiao fight. Most of the time, she thought Lu Tingxiao was gentle and elegant. She didn't expect him to be so amazing. Just then, a black Ferrari stopped slowly and a man got out of the car. It was Ning Yaohua in a custom-made Joaran suit. Ning Yaohua looked at the man beside Ningxi as if he was looking at a piece of trash, and then glanced contemptuously at the car parked downstairs. Ningxi, is this the man you've been fooling around with these days? He drives a car that costs hundreds of thousands of yuan. Ningxi was so angry that she almost laughed. For you, the standard to judge a man is how much he drives. So, according to what he said, it wasn't that he cared about her being a sugar daddy, but whether the sugar daddy was powerful enough. If she was a sugar daddy who drove a Bentley, would it be more noble? Not by the car, but by the face. And here I thought you had found some kind of god. You actually found a half-baked gigolo. You're getting worse and worse. Ning Yaohua cursed. Although this man was good-looking, if he drove such a car, he was at most a small boss of a small company. Ningxi, she actually called Lu Tingxiao a gigolo. After cursing Ningxi, Ning Yaohua looked at Lu Tingxiao arrogantly. Who are you? Do you know who she is? You even dared to play with my daughter. Believe it or not, I'll make sure you can't survive in the capital. Ningxi, Lu Tingxiao was a man of few words in front of outsiders. Now he looked down on Ning Yaohua and didn't even look him in the eye. Ning Yaohua wanted to continue to humiliate him, but for some reason, he felt a chill in his heart and suddenly couldn't say a word. How could a small local boss have such an imposing manner? His good-for-nothing daughter must have been deceived by his pretentious appearance. Ningxi, what I said last night still stands. It's not too late for you to go back with me now, Ning Yaohua said in a tone of charity. Ningxi smiled and held Lu Tingxiao's arm intimately. I'm sorry, but I choose my gigolo. You'd better go back to where you came from. Ningxi, you'll regret this. Watching the two of them leave hand in hand, Ning Yaohua flew into a rage. Then, with a gloomy face, he ordered the bodyguards next to him, follow them. There were too many things that surprised him today. One was Ningxi's skills. In his impression, his daughter was so weak that she couldn't even truss a chicken. Other than that, there was the identity of this man. He felt that something was wrong. Back in the car, Ningxi immediately scratched her head and apologized to Lu Tingxiao. I'm sorry. I caused you to be scolded for no reason. It's okay. Although he was scolded, Lu Tingxiao wasn't angry at all. As for the reason, it was naturally because of Ningxi's last hug. Even the word gigolo became a sweet nickname because she added the attributive my home in front of it. Chapter 187. Are you scared, baby? Ningxi looked at Xiao Bao worriedly. Xiao Bao shook his head and clung to her arm. His expression didn't seem to be one of shock, but rather a bit gloomy. Why was he only 5 years old? He wanted to grow up quickly. That way, he could protect her instead of looking at her from afar. Lu Tingxiao saw through his son's thoughts. This was his job and he didn't need to worry about it anymore. Only a few people know my address. Who sent this to me? Ningxi mumbled as she picked up one of the boxes to check the sender. The words on it were too blurry to read. Lu Tingxiao was about to ask if she needed a knife when Ningxi tore the package open with her bare hands. This was probably a skill that every girl needed. After opening the outer layer of the package, there was an exquisitely wrapped square gift box with a bottle of beautiful perfume and a simple note, "Happy birthday." Lu Tingxiao saw Ningxi's happy expression in the rearview mirror. Friend. Ningxi carefully put the perfume back and said, "It's my cousin. Didn't I tell you that my second uncle has a son and 3 daughters? That son isn't his son and 2 daughters are illegitimate. My second aunt only gave birth to 1, which is my cousin, Ning Tianxin." Lu Tingxiao relaxed. So it was his cousin. Yes, she was very good. Ningxi looked nostalgic. When I was in the Ning family, Sister Xin was the only one who was good to me. Although she was cold, she was actually warm on the inside. Unfortunately, I didn't get close to her at first because she looked too cold. She reminded me several times to pay attention to Ning Xueluo, but I didn't take it to heart. Sister Xin's personality is quite similar to yours. Although she looks cold, she's actually very nice. Lu Tingxiao, he was praised. But he didn't know if he should be happy. Was this the legendary good guy card? Ningxi continued to open the second package. This package was either blurry or didn't have a sender. Anonymous delivery. I've been slandered so badly recently. Should I not casually open an anonymous delivery at this time? Ning, she said as she shook it. There was no sound at all. She couldn't hear anything. I'll open it for you. Lu Tingxiao reached out his hand. Ah! Ning, she was about to say, how can you help me when you're driving? However, she saw that Lu Tingxiao's hand had already left the steering wheel, but the car was still driving steadily. It even made a turn at the intersection ahead. Ning, she was stunned. What's with this car? Lu Tingxiao replied calmly, the system made some changes. Ningxi, although it's not uncommon to see a driverless car, you actually modified it yourself. Only then did she realize that although the appearance of the car was a rather common mid-range brand, the interior and structure were not quite the same. Could it be that Lu Tingxiao had just borrowed a shell and changed the interior? Don't tell me the seat I'm sitting on is made of real leather. This metal armrest has such a good luster. Could it be some kind of high-tech material? The piece jade pendant hanging in front of him was so sparkling and translucent. Could it be a top-grade ice type? He didn't dare to continue thinking about it. Ningxi finally came back to her senses and nervously reminded Lu Tingxiao, be careful. What if the delivery is really? Just as he finished speaking, there was a loud bang. Chapter 188. There was a mushroom cloud of glitter everywhere. Lu Tingxiao's head, clothes, and face were all covered in glitter. If one looked closely, they would realize that there were many glittering things scattered in the explosion. They looked like diamonds. This was a familiar way of giving gifts. He didn't have to ask to know who it was. But this time, it was more of a prank. People used money to smash people, but he used diamonds to smash people. Although they weren't big, there were so many of them. If they were made into rings, it would be enough for hundreds or thousands of young men to propose to. Not only Lu Tingxiao, but also Ningxi and Xiao Bao, who were sitting in the back seat, were affected a little, and their bodies were sparkling. Ningxi, Lu Tingxiao, Xiao Bao. Ningxi wiped her face and then Xiao Bao's face. Then she quickly leaned over to help Lu Tingxiao remove the messy things on him. I'm sorry. Are you okay? Did you get any in your eyes? Lu Tingxiao brushed his hair and shook off a layer of broken diamonds and a small piece of paper. It said, Happy birthday, darling. Are you satisfied with what you see? YSU. Lu Tingxiao looked at her with a complicated expression. Do you like this way? He began to reflect on himself. Compared to others who were simple and direct, wasn't his way of expressing himself too tactfully? Ning, she was speechless. Do I look like I like it? If it was just one, it could still be considered a pleasant surprise. But if it was a rain of flowers, it would be horrifying, alright? Lu Tingxiao, although you're rich, you can't chase girls like this. If you want to chase someone, I can teach you later. I'll teach you. Lu Tingxiao smiled. Of course, that was what he wanted. Okay. Out of the corner of his eye, he caught a glimpse of a car following them from the rearview mirror. It seemed to be Ning Yaohua's car. Ning, she saw that Lu Tingxiao's expression wasn't right. She followed his gaze and saw that car. Fuck. This guy isn't done yet. Do we need to shake them off? Lu Tingxiao asked. Ning, she thought about it and then shook her head. Forget it. Ignore him. They can't get in anyway. Xiao Bao is still in the car. It's too dangerous to drive fast. Okay. 10 minutes later, at the Imperial Level Platinum Palace. Lu Tingxiao's black sedan, which did not match the luxury cars coming in and out of the city, slowly drove to the entrance. When the car was still a few meters away, the guard respectfully saluted, then attentively opened the door and watched the car until it was out of sight. Then, Ning Yaohua, who was following closely behind, was immediately stopped. Hello, please show me your pass, the guard said with a businesslike expression. Ning Yaohua anxiously watched the black car disappear into the corner and said impatiently, What pass? If you don't have a pass, you can ask the residents inside to give me a call, the guard said. Ning Yaohua frowned. Then why did that car go in so easily? He is one of our residents, the guard replied. What? Ning Yaohua's expression changed instantly. Was there a mistake somewhere? It was an Imperial level Platinum Gold rank. The gathering place of the imperial capital's top tycoons. There was a price but no supply. How could the pretty boy with the broken car be a resident here? Could it be that he was some family's butler or special assistant, or someone's illegitimate child? Chapter 189. After a series of twists and turns, the three of them finally got home smoothly. They carried the bags to the kitchen. The first thing they did was not to cook but to take a shower. The three of them were covered with glitter powder and small diamonds to varying degrees. Tens of thousands of yuan might fall off when they walked, so Ningxi had to pay attention to her steps while walking. After taking a shower, Ningxi deliberately changed into clothes that were more convenient for her to move around, looking like she was going to do something big. Do you need help? Lu Tingxiao and Xiaobao also went downstairs. Ningxi held Xiaobao in her arms and rubbed him. Ask Wanwan to come and help me. You two go watch TV and wait for dinner. Don't get yourself dirty again. Wanwan is not here. They are all on vacation today, Lu Tingxiao said. On vacation? Ningxi thought about it and thought it was good to let Xiaobao participate in it, so she said, then come here. Do you have aprons? I forgot to buy one when I went out just now. I think so. Lu Tingxiao dug out a plastic package from the pile of vegetables he had just bought. After opening it, there were exactly 3 aprons in the same style and color, 2 big ones and 1 small one. Huh? When did you buy it? Ningxi asked in surprise. The crab girl gave it to me. Okay. There are really all kinds of gifts. Ningxi took the small apron and said to Xiaobao, Xiaobao, come here. I'll help you put it on. Xiaobao opened his short hands cooperatively and expectantly. Ningxi helped him put it on, tied the belt, and exclaimed, Baby is so cute even in an apron. As soon as she said that, she turned around and saw Lu Tingxiao. Lu Tingxiao in casual clothes and a pink apron was still dazzlingly handsome. Moreover, there was an unexpected contrast between the two. No. I can't resist the urge to take photos again. Ningxi ran to take the phone and began to take photos. From time to time, she stuffed tomatoes or pork ribs into Xiaobao's hands as props. Cute Xiaobao was accompanied by a cold big bun. It should have been a very strange picture, but when they were in the same frame, it was very loving. Do you want me to take photos for you? Lu Tingxiao suddenly asked. I don't think I need it. I'll help you and Xiaobao, Lu Tingxiao said as he helped her put on the apron. Xiaobao couldn't wait to pounce on Ningxi. In fact, Ningxi didn't want to leave too many traces and memories, but she couldn't resist Xiaobao's expectant eyes. Forget it, what's the point of thinking so much? Today there is wine, today we get drunk, tomorrow we worry. After Ningxi and Little Bun were in the same frame, their style became much more consistent. She led Little Bun in doing many cute and funny poses and actions. For example, she asked Little Bun to hold a lotus root in her hand and make a posture of launching a shockwave. Ningxi cooperated and made a posture of being hit away. In the end, they had so much fun that they almost forgot to cook. Damn, Lu Tingxiao, you're really good at everything. Even the photos looked so good. The composition and lighting are perfect. Ningxi looked through the photos on her phone and was amazed. I really want to use it as my phone's desktop, but I can't. After all, Xiaobao's identity was special. Normally, she was very careful not to reveal any information about Xiaobao. If she had such a cute son, she would definitely show off every day until everyone blocked her. Chapter 190. With the cooperation of the three of them, a feast was soon prepared. Salt and pepper pork trotters, marinated crayfish, spicy crab, roasted lamb leg, fried steak, most of the dishes were meat dishes. Ningxi, who needed to maintain her figure, had to try her best. After all, the Little Bun was still a little thin and Lu Tingxiao needed some nourishment. Looking at the table full of delicious dishes, Lu Tingxiao was a little surprised. Now I believe what you said. What? To be a chef? Ningxi laughed heartily. Do you think I'm exaggerating? Although I'm rusty, I've practiced for many years. You wanted to be a chef from the beginning? Lu Tingxiao was puzzled. Ningxi's smile dimmed, Don't laugh at me. I don't want to be a chef, I want to be someone's wife. Lu Tingxiao's eyes narrowed slightly, revealing a trace of coldness that was difficult to detect. I want to be someone's wife, such a touching sentence, but that someone was not him. I was too stupid and naive at that time. I thought I could capture a man's heart by capturing his stomach. But they don't know. At this point, Ningxi suddenly stopped and glanced at Xiaobao, who was focused on the soup pot. Then she moved closer to Lu Tingxiao and continued in a low voice, but they don't know that the position of the hand is 3 inches below the navel. I've cooked for him for so many years, but it's not worth it for Ning Shui to sleep with him. Isn't it sad? The sad thing is, he will regret it. Lu Tingxiao's comforting tone sounded like he was speaking the truth. Ningxi admitted that she was really comforted and chuckled. Well, since we're so happy today, let's not talk about those disappointing things. After this soup is done, stir-fry some vegetables. Lu Tingxiao looked at the basket. We didn't buy vegetables. You didn't? Ningxi was dumbfounded. What about the cauliflower? The carrots? We didn't buy them either. Ah. So all the vegetables I bought are meat. How am I supposed to eat them? I'll die of boredom. I did get some eggplant, but it's not enough to stir-fry a plate. Currently, there were 8 meat dishes and 2 vegetables, 1 lotus root slices mixed with sugar, 1 tomato slices cold. It's okay, I'll go to Jing Li's to help you. Ha! How could second young master have such a thing? Ningxi was surprised. Yes, there is a vegetable greenhouse behind his yard. That's great. But let me go. You definitely don't know how to choose. All right, I'll watch the soup. Get Xiaobao to bring you there. Otherwise, the guards won't recognize you, Lu Tingxiao instructed. All right, I'll be right back. With Little Bun's help, Ningxi smoothly entered the vegetable greenhouse behind Lu Jingli's yard. Not to mention that the vegetables in the shed were growing really well. Each of them was fresh and juicy, and they were much fresher than those in the market. After all, they were freshly picked. Lu Jingli really knew how to eat. Just as he was picking vegetables with Xiaobao in the basket, a sharp alarm suddenly sounded above his head. Ningxi looked up. What's going on? Immediately after, a loud shout came from behind. TSK. Which thief is it? How dare you steal this young master's vegetables? Ah! Xiaobao. Ningxi. Lu Jingli was wearing pajamas, with a head of mixed hair that just got out of bed. He was dumbfounded when he saw the big one and the small one. Ningxi carried the basket, the corner of her mouth twitched. Even a vegetable greenhouse needs an alarm. Second young master, do you have to do this? Did you bury gold in the ground? Chapter 191. Lu Jingli glared at her with a pained expression. Bastard. Why not? Put down all the carrots, cauliflower, and cabbages in your hand. I personally planted every single one of these vegetables, watered and fertilized them myself. Every day, I played music, listened to stories, and told them jokes. They're all my precious babies. 100 times more precious than gold. Don't you see they're prettier than your families? Are they ordinary dishes? Are ordinary dishes so beautiful? Ningxi, she thought he did it for food, but she never expected Lu Jingli to have such a strange hobby as growing vegetables in addition to flirting with girls. Put them down, or I'll really get angry. Ningxi blinked her eyes. But I've already picked them. Or should I give you money? How dare you insult my babies with money? Ningxi, I'm going to kill you. Lu Jingli rolled up his sleeves and was about to rush over. Ningxi was speechless and pulled Xiaobao up. Run, they ran until they were out of breath. Ningxi shouted at the opposite door from afar, Lu Tingxiao, help, what's going on? As soon as Lu Tingxiao came out of the house, Ningxi immediately pulled Xiaobao to hide behind him. Lu Jingli complained, brother, are you going to do something about it? Your 2 brats stole vegetables from my garden. Lu Tingxiao, I told them to. Lu Jingli. Sure enough, behind all brats, there's a brat parent. You're too much. I don't care, give me back my babies. Ningxi poked her head out from behind Lu Tingxiao. But your babies are dead. How dare you? Can't I bury them and recite scriptures for them? Well, I think it's better to eat them. You savage woman. Even if I can't beat you, I'll take you down with me." Before Lu Jingli could rush over, a handsome robot suddenly appeared and blocked his way. Xiaobao, who was controlling the robot, stared at him coldly, as if warning him not to bully Xiaoxi. Lu Jingli thumped his chest and stamped his feet. "Oh, there's no justice in this. Xiaobao, I'm your uncle. Where did your elbow go?" Seeing that the three brats and the robot were about to fight, Lu Tingxiao helplessly pinched the space between his eyebrows. "Stop messing around. Jing Li, come and eat with us." "I won't." Before Lu Jingli could finish his words, he suddenly smelled an extremely tempting aroma of food. "Brother, didn't you let all the servants have a day off today? Who cooked?" "I'll do it." Ning Shi immediately raised her hand. Lu Jingli's face was full of contempt. "You know how to cook. Is your cooking edible?" In the end, when he entered the restaurant and saw a table full of dishes that were comparable to the standard of a chef, Lu Jingli was dumbfounded. "Did you really make these?" Ning Shi took the vegetables she stole from Lu Jingli and quickly made 3 stir-fried vegetables and served them. After seeing it with his own eyes, Lu Jingli had no choice but to believe it. However, because he had not let go of the grudge of stealing vegetables, he snorted in disdain. "What era is this? Do you still believe in such stupid words as grabbing a man's stomach, grabbing a man's heart? 3 inches below the navel is the key, okay?" Ning Shi couldn't help laughing. She and Lu Jingli's ideas and views were really in line in some aspect. However, she could call herself stupid, but she couldn't tolerate others calling her stupid. "Oh, really?" Ning Shi raised her eyebrows meaningfully, then picked up a piece of pork ribs and stuffed it into Lu Jingli's mouth. Chapter 192. "Oh, what did you put in? Poison." Lu Jingli was about to spit, but his expression changed the next second. "Fuck. It's delicious. What is this? It's crispy and soft on the outside. It melts in the mouth. It's so delicious. How can it be so delicious? Do you still think it's useless to grab the stomach?" Ning Shi asked calmly with her arms crossed. Lu Jingli nodded vigorously. Yes. If I had a wife who could cook like this, I would definitely come home to eat every day." He had originally sympathized with his brother, but now it seemed that marrying Ning Shi was not necessarily without its benefit. "Do you still want to bury your little babies now?" Lu Jingli looked serious. No, your pot is the best home for them. From now on, you can pick any vegetables you want from my place. Just take me with you when you eat. Oh, this crayfish is delicious. Oh, this small steak is delicious too. What spices did you put in it? I've tasted all kinds of delicious food, but I've never tasted such a special taste. How can I tell you the secret recipe? Hey, that's enough. Eat slowly. The 3 of us have been busy and haven't had a bite yet. I'm sorry, sit down. Hurry up and eat. No, wait. I want to take a picture and post it on WeChat. It's too damn delicious. Little 1111, I really didn't know you had such a trick up your sleeve. Lu Jingli took a few pictures as he spoke and then posted it on WeChat with the caption, "Oh, Mina-san. Let me tell you. My future sister-in-law's cooking is too delicious. I'm so jealous of my brother." "What did you post?" Ning Shi curiously leaned over to take a look. Lu Jingli immediately put away his phone. "How can you spy on other people's secret?" "Nonsense, you've already posted it on WeChat." "Page, I'll see it myself." Ning Shi took out her phone and opened WeChat. She had added Lu Jingli as a friend anyway. In the end, it did not appear. Damn. Lu Jingli, what kind of shameful things did you write? You even set it to be invisible to me. Why do you care what I wrote? It's my freedom. But the dishes in your photos were cooked by me. While Ning Shi and Lu Jingli were quarreling, Lu Tingxiao glanced at his cell phone and saw Lu Jingli's message, "My future sister-in-law." No wonder he didn't want Ning Shi to see it. In just a few minutes, there was already a large number of people commenting below. Mo Lingtian, damn, I thought you were just joking last time. You really have a girlfriend? This craftsmanship is not bad. I didn't expect Lu Tingxiao to like a good wife and loving mother. Qin Mufeng, I'm surprised. She knows how to cook. According to my professional judgment, she doesn't look like the type of wife and loving mother. Old Master Lu, not bad. Madam Lu, Aya, this girl is really not bad. There weren't many girls who could cook these days. Is that my good grandson's hand in the lower right-hand corner? I think you've put on a lot of weight. Good, good, good. There were other comments, all praising Lu Tingxiao for being so lucky. They asked when he would bring her to meet them and when they could go to their house for a free meal. By the way, Xiao 1111, your agent has been decided. Lu Jingli quickly changed the topic. Ning Shi's attention was immediately diverted. Really? Who is it? I won't tell you. I'll tell you if you promise me a meal. Lu Jingli kept her in suspense. Ning Shi rolled her eyes at him and turned to Lu Tingxiao. Lu Tingxiao, who is it? Chapter 193. Lu Jingli kept signaling his brother with his eyes, but Lu Tingxiao didn't even look at him. He replied heartlessly, Lin Jiji. Lu Jingli, Sang Xin. Wasn't it just your wife who fed me a piece of pork rib? Was there a need to take revenge immediately? Ning Shi was stunned. Lin Jiji? The Lin Jiji who single-handedly turned the unknown and unattractive Lung Manyun into an international best actress? She's my agent. Boss, don't tell me you opened the back door for me. Lin Jiji only takes Lung Manyun, not newcomers, right? Lu Jingli cursed in his heart. Of course she did. Because of his brother's orders, he had to fly to H City overnight to persuade her for an entire night before he could convince her. Because Lung Manyun wants to retire, Lu Tingxiao said with an expression as if the public selflessness was just a coincidence. He didn't mention that Lin Jiji was going to take a break and not take newcomers. Ning Shi looked surprised. The rumors are true. Lung Manyun is really going to retire? Yes, she just decided not long ago. Lu Tingxiao nodded. Ning Shi looked regretful. That's a pity. She's at the peak of her career but she chose to get married and have a child. She's the actress most likely to break senior Song Lin's record and win 12 trophies. Becoming a Grand Slam Best Actress was her ultimate goal. Ning Shi shrugged. But everyone has their own goals. It's not good for others to judge. But did Lin Jiji agree to take me? I heard she's very strict. Yes, but you still have to go through her test to determine her position and direction of training, Lu Tingxiao replied. Oh, okay. I'll work hard. Ning Shi felt more at ease when she heard Lu Tingxiao say there was another test. Lu Jingli listened to their conversation and clicked his tongue. His brother must have spent his entire life on Ning Shi. Every time he helped her, he would try his best to make it seem fair and reasonable, not giving her any pressure or feeling that she owed him anything. He was really infatuated. Looking at Ning Shi's increasingly trusting attitude towards his brother, he felt that the day he could call her sister-in-law wasn't far away. That's great. I can eat such delicious food often in the future. Hey, at night. Probably because he had too much fun today, Xiaobao went to bed very early at night. Ning Shi coaxed him for less than 5 minutes before he closed his eyes and fell asleep. Ning Shi gently kissed the little fellow's forehead and then gently closed the door. Lu Tingxiao was leaning against the railing at the door. He looked up when he heard the door open. Xiaobao is asleep. Yes, I slept soundly. You've worked hard today. It's not hard at all. I'm also very happy. This is the first time Xiaobao has eaten 2 bowls of rice. Lu Tingxiao looked very pleased. Ning Shi said with a smile, it's rare that Xiaobao is so supportive. In the future, as long as I'm not busy, I'll definitely make some delicious food for Xiaobao. Lu Tingxiao frowned and refused, I don't want it. Why? Ning Shi didn't understand. Lu Tingxiao looked at her, and there seemed to be a sense of melancholy lingering between his brows. Now that you've raised his mouth, what will I do when you leave? What am I going to do when you leave? This sentence seemed normal, but it seemed to have more than just a superficial meaning. It was like a heavy hammer striking her heart. Chapter 194. After Lu Tingxiao's words last night, Ning Shi didn't sleep well. She had a lot of weird dreams last night, and even dreamed of the night when she was drugged by Zhu Shangcheng. In the dream, she lost control and fell on Lu Tingxiao. The scene was extremely out of control. How could I have such a dream? Ningxi rubbed her hair hard, turned on the faucet and washed her face with cold water. Cheer up, I have to report to the new company today. Before going out, Big Bun and Little Bun cheered her up together. Lu Tingxiao said, "Come on." Little Bun raised the writing board and said, "Fight." The robot next to Little Bun sprayed fireworks and also said, "Come on." Thank you, thank you." Ningxi kissed Little Bun and bowed to the big boss, but her eyes were a little evasive when she looked at him. After all, she almost did that to him in the dream last night. Finally, she arrived at Shengshi Entertainment. Standing downstairs of the magnificent building, facing a new beginning, new opportunities, and new challenges, Ningxi's blood was beating in her chest. When she walked in the building of Shengshi Entertainment, there was only one thought in her mind. Rich, inhuman, character. Needless to say, this resplendent and magnificent style of decoration was definitely Lu Jingli's aesthetic taste. Ningxi took the elevator directly to the office at the end of the 17th floor according to the address Lu Jingli gave her before. "Please come in." A formulaic female voice came from inside. After pushing the door in, Ningxi felt that her eyes were purified. She was almost blinded by the light outside just now. The main color of this office was black, white, and gray, and the decoration was very simple. She saw a woman wearing black-rimmed glasses and a champagne-colored professional suit sitting in front of the desk. "Hello, Sister Lin, I'm Ningxi. I'm here to report." "Hello, Ningxi. From today on, I'm your agent, Lin Jiji. You must have heard that I don't work for newcomers, but Manyun is going to retire, and the company needs someone to replace her." Lin Jiji explained briefly, and looked at her with eyes like searchlights, which were oppressive but not annoying. The girl in front of him was completely different from the plain-looking Lung Manyun. The first impression she gave off was that she was beautiful, the kind of beauty that was very recognizable to the point of being arrogant. This kind of appearance was undoubtedly a sharp weapon in the entertainment circle, but at the same time, it was also a double-edged sword. It was easy to be labeled as a vase, and it was easier to be associated with messy love news. After Ningxi heard Lin Jiji's words, she was a little surprised. Her existence was to replace Lung Manyun. Wasn't this request too high? However, the more difficult it was, the more excited she became. What's more, this was her original goal. Although the company is preparing to train you as her successor, let me be frank. The probation period is half a year. If you can't meet my requirements, then you'll be kicked out. You can stay in the company, but I won't take you with me. Understand? Lin Jiji said with a cold expression. Ningxi immediately nodded seriously. Understood. At this time, there was a knock on the door, and a chubby and amiable-looking girl walked in. "This is the assistant I arranged for you." "Hello, Sister Shi, I'm Hu Dao. You can call me Peach." The little girl introduced herself a little shyly. "Hello." Ningxi had a good first impression of this chubby little assistant. Chapter 195. After introducing the assistant, Lin Jiji gave her a bunch of keys. "This is the apartment that the company has arranged for you. Move in as soon as possible." Ningxi saw the words engraved on the keys, Pearl River Imperial View. Fuck. They arranged Pearl River Imperial View for a newbie like her? The most expensive villa in City B was the Platinum Palace, and the most expensive apartment was Pearl River Imperial View. Both of them were developed by Lu Group. She remembered that Ning Shualuo also lived in Pearl River Imperial View. Golden Era was indeed rich. She looked a little troubled. "Thank you, Sister Lin, but I might not be able to move in for the time being." Lin Jiji glanced at her. "You have a boyfriend?" She saw that she had misunderstood that she was living with her boyfriend, so she quickly explained, "No, it's not because of him. I need to stay at my friend's place for a while. I'll move in once I'm done. I promise that it won't affect my work. Also, the place I'm living in now is very private." Lin Jiji did not ask further. She said seriously, It's good that you know what you're doing. I won't interfere too much with your personal affairs, but there are some things that I have to tell you. The first thing is that you're not allowed to be in a relationship at this stage. I don't need to tell you the reason, right? Lung Manyun, whom she had brought up as a newbie, suddenly had to retire for a man. It was a bit of a blow to her. The feeling of being abandoned by a teammate who had fought alongside her even made her feel disheartened. Sister Lin, you don't have to worry about that. I just want to put on a good show now. Ning, she said firmly. Lin Jiji looked at her calmly and did not say anything. Women would lose their minds when they were in love. It would be useless even if she swore 100 times. Lin Jiji then told her about the company's rules and regulations. She then handed her a document and said, Starlight Entertainment will be holding a press conference today to announce that you're being blacklisted. We're ready for the press conference tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. This is the process of the press conference and the questions that the reporters might ask. Go back and take a look. Ning, she took the document and said, Don't worry, Sister Lin. I'll do my best. Although Lin Jiji was always cold and stern, Ning, she did not feel uncomfortable at all. Instead, she felt very safe. With the company backing her up and taking care of everything, she only needed to focus on putting on a good show. It was much easier than before. Seeing the genuine gratitude and fighting spirit in the girl's eyes, Lin Jiji's favorability towards her increased by a few points. Forget it, I'll give it a try. Although Lu Jingli is usually a little unreliable, at least he has a good eye for people. Every time he poaches someone, they're always popular. Okay, go ahead. I'll explain the details to you later. If there's anything you don't understand, call me anytime. Alright, Sister Lin, I'll make a move first. Today, Ning, she came to Shengsha in the black Audi that Lu Tingxiao had prepared for her. She had been exposed too much recently. If she continued to take the subway, it would be very troublesome if she was recognized. On the way back, Ning, she excitedly tried out the autopilot function. After the car was located and navigated, it began to move automatically. She leaned against the driver's seat and did whatever she wanted. It felt really good. Technology really changed our lives. Starlight Entertainment's press conference should have ended by now. Ning, she purposely picked up her phone and opened Weibo to check the reactions online. Chapter 196. After the press conference, the netizens' anger reached an unprecedented level. Sad smiley. Starlight did a great job this time. This kind of slut should be banned. You've done something wrong, yet you're still so arrogant. I'm drunk. It's a pity that Under the Heavens has such a good script. Why are you all scolding Ningxi? I wish someone would stand up and hit her. I think Ning Xueluo is too soft-hearted. She should just file the case. Who is the sugar daddy behind Ningxi's evil deeds? Please find out who it is. Not only that, as long as someone spoke up for Ningxi, everyone would swarm up to attack that person. Now, no one dared to express a different opinion. Ning Xueluo was probably desperate. It was obvious that she wanted to end the battle quickly and suppress her once and for all. As Ning she scrolled through the comments, she realized that something was wrong. Her Weibo was suddenly being tagged like crazy, and the number of comments was increasing rapidly. What happened this time? The phone screen turned black several times. Finally, Ning she clicked it open again with difficulty and figured out what had happened. Just now, Lu Jingli posted on Weibo, Koi little prince, welcome to our Shengsha family. Ning 11 Holy shit. Ning she couldn't help but widen her eyes, thinking that she was seeing things. Wasn't Lu Jingli being too high profile? As soon as this Weibo post came out, the entire Weibo was in an uproar. All the netizens swarmed over. Fuck, what did I just see? That bitch Ningxi actually joined Shengsha Entertainment. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. My Meng Meng Koi must have been hack. It must be. That's right. Shengsha Entertainment has a good reputation in the industry. How could they sign a contract with such a despicable bitch? If this is true, then Golden Era will be shamed for life. I'm never going to watch any of Golden Age's shows ever again. At first, I had a good impression of Lu Jingli, but I never thought that he would be the one helping the Avildor. Too disappointing. Why did they have to sign this kind of person? Just because I'm pretty. Damn it. Did that bitch Ningxi sleep with my coy Prince Charming? No one can stop me. I'm going to kill her. Ningxi held her forehead. She knew it would be like this. Did Lu Jingli have to be so impatient? Why didn't they announce it after the press conference? Wasn't he just asking for a scolding? Ningxi was wondering if she should do something when she saw that the other artists under Shengshe were being cursed as well. But in the next second, she saw something that made her dumbfounded. What did she see? She actually saw Lu Tingxiao's main account reposting Lu Jingli's Weibo posts. Lu Tingxiao's main account was like a zombie fan. His posts were all formulaic, such as the group's anniversary celebration, the establishment of a new department, the completion of a major cooperation project, or some unfathomable professional economic theory. However, Lu Tingxiao had a lot of fans. He was a male god, after all. Even if he only updated once every 6 months, and they were all advertisements, there would still be a large number of diehard fans following him. Now, Lu Tingxiao, who had always paid attention to the major events of the corporation, actually reposted Lu Jingli's Weibo post and added a lot of words, "Welcome Ningxi to the team." This time, it wasn't as simple as an explosion. Weibo's traffic instantly exploded. The system couldn't bear the load and even crashed for a few minutes before recovering. Chapter 197. Miraculously, the public opinion on the internet took a turn for the better. Oh my god. What did I just see? I'm going to the toilet to eat shit to calm myself down. First, it could be a hacked account. Now that Lu Tingxiao has shared it, how can it be fake? Golden Age Entertainment has signed Ningxi. Even Lu Tingxiao was alarmed. I don't understand this world anymore. Since Lu Tingxiao shared it, it means that he knows about it and even agrees with Golden Age's decision. Lu Jingli might have been blinded by lust, but Lu Tingxiao would never do that. Something's not right about this. Yes, something's wrong. Golden Age might be up to something big. Waiting for the tables to turn. I'm not saying anything. I'm waiting for the tables to turn. I'll support my idol. Waiting for the truth to come out. Believe in me. All in all, the public opinion was pulled back after Lu Tingxiao shared it. The netizens began to remain neutral, and some even began to regain their rationality. Ningxi was in awe of the series of changes that had taken place on Weibo. Sure enough, the Great Demon King's attack was extraordinary. The main reason was that Lu Tingxiao's image was too perfect. Ever since he took over Lu Group, he had never made a wrong decision. During the economic crisis 5 years ago, many companies went bankrupt. Only Lu Group stood strong and went against the tide. Basically, his words were like an oracle, no one doubted him. At the same time, in the living room of the Lu mansion, Lu Jingli was rolling around on the sofa with his phone in his hand. Fuck me. What the hell are these bastards talking about? What do they mean by I might have been blinded by lust, but you wouldn't have? I'm so fucking innocent. You're the one who was blinded by lust. It's you, it's you. It's snow in June. I'm innocent. I'm more innocent than Dou-yi. Ningxi returned just as he was howling. Second young master, I heard you howling from afar. What did you say? Nothing. Lu Jingli immediately sat up, unable to voice his grievances. Lu Tingxiao, who did not even look at Lu Jingli when he rolled on the sofa, looked up from his book. You're back. Have you seen Lin Jiji? Ningxi nodded repeatedly. Yes, Sister Lin is very nice. She's my type. She looks so safe when she's cold and unhappy. Lu Tingxiao, these words didn't seem to be a problem, but why did it make him feel insecure? Ningxi glared at Lu Jingli. Second young master, you're too impatient. Why did you announce that I've signed with Golden Era? Lu Jingli said with an expression that said, of course it's to add fuel to your popularity. Look at how popular you are now. Everyone is talking about you. Ningxi chuckled and rolled her eyes at him. If it weren't for Lu Tingxiao, we would have been accused of adultery, okay? Hearing this, Lu Jingli finally showed some guilt and muttered in a low voice, so be it. The truth will be revealed tomorrow anyway. He had expected the netizens to scold him, but he didn't expect them to be so harsh and think in that direction. His brother's face turned green when he saw those comments. You can post on Weibo about the press conference tomorrow, Lu Tingxiao reminded. Oh, okay, I'll send it now. After Ning Shi posted on Weibo, Lu Jingli reposted it, followed by Lin Jiji. At this time, the phone screen flashed. Someone called. It was Jiang Mui. Chapter 198. Hello, Jiang, Ning Xiaoxi. You actually signed with Golden Era. Why didn't you discuss it with me? Did you see the email I sent you? Jiang Mui's roar could be heard from the other end of the phone. Aren't you busy? I didn't want to bother you. Besides, what does this have to do with the email you sent me? Jiang Mui's voice was too loud. Ning Shi smiled awkwardly at Lu Tingxiao and went upstairs to answer the call. Behind her, Lu Jingli rubbed his chin and gave his brother a meaningful look. Brother, it seems like someone is going to give you a hard time. Sigh, poor thing. Why did he have to fall in love with the same woman as you? Luckily, I don't like girls like 1111. TSK. A love rival is too scary. Jiang Mui was so angry that he almost choked on his breath. You still haven't read the email? Sorry, I forgot. Is it something important? I thought it was some kind of parody video or something. Jiang Mui took a deep breath and said slowly, right now, open your email and read the email I sent you. Don't hang up on me. Open it now. Okay. I'll read it now. Ning Shi opened her computer and logged into her email. She found the email Jiang Mui had sent her and downloaded the attachment. There was a picture and an audio clip in the attachment. She clicked on the picture. It was a WeChat message. Aya, my grandson is so cute. Aya, my son is so handsome. Tingxiao, who chose the clothes for you and Xiaobao? Is it the girl you like? Yes. I knew you wouldn't choose this style of clothes. Look at how bright and beautiful it is. Unlike you, who only knows how to wear grey clothes all day long. Even Xiaobao is covered in grey clothes. This family really needs a woman. Did she take the photo too? Yes. Not bad. Damn, my future sister-in-law is unbelievable. She actually has the ability to make you wear this kind of clothes and take photos for her. I gave you a set of clothes that looked similar to this one. You looked at me with disdain and even criticized my taste. The people in the conversation were obviously Lu Tingxiao, the two elders of the Lu family, and Lu Jingli. Are you watching it? Jiang Mui urged. Okay. Ning Shi nodded with a complicated expression and turned on the audio. After a series of rustling sounds, Jiang Mui's voice came from inside. Uncle, what do you mean by Ning Shi? Then it was Lu Tingxiao's voice. Yes. Don't you think your attitude towards Ning Shi is too strange and ambiguous? Jiang Mui questioned. Lu Tingxiao's tone was lazy and dangerous. I think I've made it clear enough. Since you still don't understand, hearing this, Ning Shi's heart suddenly jumped to her throat, as if she could feel Jiang Mui's mood when he was waiting for Lu Tingxiao's answer. What would Lu Tingxiao say? After waiting for 3 seconds, which felt like 3 centuries, Lu Tingxiao's voice finally came through the audio. He said, Do you understand? Ning Shi was confused. What was going on? What did he understand? Just when Ning Shi thought she had heard something wrong and clicked the mouse to play again, Jiang Mui's cold voice came through the phone. Don't be hard of hearing. You didn't hear wrong. He only said 3 words. But before he said those 3 words, he kissed you in front of me. Chapter 199. WH. What? Ning Shi was stunned. Why don't I know? You were drunk that night. It was the night the crew held a dinner party for me. Jiang Mui reminded her. Ning Shi finally remembered. It was the night she walked into the wrong room and was taken advantage of by Zhu Xiangqing. Lu Tingxiao had sent her back to the room and asked her to wait for him to go home after the party was over. After that, she passed out as soon as she saw Lu Tingxiao. She had no recollection of what happened after that. Jiang Mui was right beside her at that time. The conversation between him and Lu Tingxiao must have taken place at that time. Seeing that Ning Shi did not reply, Jiang Mui became even more disheartened. You still don't believe me, do you? I know that these two are not conclusive evidence. You can take the screenshot as Lu Tingxiao's perfunctory answer to his parents. I didn't even record the most important part of the conversation. There's no proof. After a long while, a sigh came from the other end of the phone. Jiang Mui, it doesn't matter whether I believe it or not. It doesn't affect my decision to sign with Golden Era. Even if he really has feelings for me, he won't take advantage of his position to do anything to me. He won't force me. Jiang Mui knew that it was all over when he heard Ning Shi's words. He did not expect Ning Shi to trust Lu Tingxiao so much. They had only known each other for a few months. Ning Shi continued, "Thank you. I know you care about me. There's a press conference tomorrow. I need to focus on this final battle. Let's meet up and talk about it after this is over. You'll be in Lu Tingxiao's trap by the time this is over." No, she's already at the bottom of the pit. So what if he knows? There's nothing he can do. Anne, I'm not just concerned about you. What right does he have to look down on Lu Tingxiao's actions? What he's doing is not noble. Jiang Mui felt a deep sense of helplessness in his heart. See you later. Okay, bye. Ning Shi hung up the phone. It was as if all the energy in her body had been sucked out. She threw herself onto the bed and stared blankly at the ceiling. Until now, she still hadn't recovered from Jiang Mui's words, "He kissed you in front of me." Perhaps it was because she was an actress with a strong visual sense and imagination, she could almost completely recreate the scene in her mind. His heart was beating faster and faster. Ning Shi took out her phone and quickly sent a WeChat message to Lu Tingxiao. "Boss, I have to memorize the script for the press conference. You don't have to call me for dinner tonight. I'll just nibble on some fruits. I ate too much meat last night. It's perfect for me to lose weight." He tried his best to sound nonchalant. He shouldn't be able to see anything, right? She was clearly the best at pretending, but in front of Lu Tingxiao, she had no confidence at all. In the living room downstairs, Lu Tingxiao looked at Ning Shi's WeChat message. He raised his eyes and glanced at Ning Shi's room. Lu Jingli quickly leaned over to take a peek, and then his face was full of disappointment. "Really, sister-in-law isn't cooking tonight? I was looking forward to it for nothing. I'm so sad." Then she rolled her eyes, put an arm around her brother's shoulder, and said earnestly, "Jiang Mui must have been forced into a corner, right? Isn't this a little too harsh?" Chapter 200. Lu Tingxiao withdrew his gaze. His expression was like the surface of a lake blown by a breeze. Although there were ripples, it quickly returned to normal. He knew that this day would come sooner or later, and he had been waiting for this day. Although he had been treading on thin ice during this period of time, he had managed to get through it without any mishaps. This was already the best situation he could have imagined. What he had to do next was wait. Looking at his brother's expression, Lu Jingli couldn't help but worry for him. His brother had practically used up all his forbearance and restraint in these past few months. If something went wrong, he simply couldn't imagine what would happen to him. Ever since he met Ning Shi, he had really changed a lot. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that he had been reborn. He really didn't want him to return to his original self, or even become even scarier. He decided that he would go to the temple tomorrow to pray for his brother. He had to kneel for a while longer. Ning Shi, who had promised to memorize a script, had been lying in bed for at least 2 hours. She didn't think of anything, and was in a completely empty state. Usually, when she encountered something extremely difficult to solve, she would use this method to relieve the pressure. When this method couldn't relieve the pressure, she could only choose some more extreme methods. However, it had been a long time since something could trouble her to this extent. Looking at the clock on the wall, it was almost 10 o'clock. Ning Shi finally got up and spent an hour memorizing the information that Lin Jiji had given her. She had a solid foundation in lines, so it was quite easy for her to memorize these things. At this time, she suddenly realized that little Bun hadn't come to find her all night. Lu Tingxiao must have told Xiao Bao that she was busy. After memorizing the information, Ning Shi prepared to go see little Bun. Walking to the door of little Bun's room, Ning Shi thought that the little guy must be asleep, so she gently pushed the door open. However, As soon as she opened the door a little, she saw that the warm yellow bedside lamp was on. She saw little Bun leaning against the headboard and concentrating on playing with a Rubik's Cube. Lu Tingxiao sat on the edge of the bed with a trace of helplessness on his cold and stiff face. It's already 10:54. There's still 6 minutes until 11. Lu Tingxiao said. In other words, it was already very late, and she should go to sleep. Little Bun acted as if he hadn't heard anything and continued to focus on turning the cube. In just a few seconds, he had finished assembling it. Every side was the same color, and then he would mess it up and reassemble it. He repeated this process over and over again, as if he didn't know fatigue. Lu Tingxiao picked up a colorful fairy tale book on the bedside table that Ningxi had bought before and asked expressionlessly, "Which one do you want to listen to?" Little Bun finally raised his head and looked at him, but his gaze seemed to be filled with disdain. Lu Tingxiao pinched his eyebrows and switched to another book, The Monarch. Little Bun was disdainful. Lu Tingxiao switched to A Brief History of Time. Little Bun was still uninterested. Lu Tingxiao finally gave up. He glanced at his watch and his face darkened. It's already 11 o'clock. Seeing that Lu Tingxiao was about to lose his temper, Ningxi hurriedly coughed and knocked on the door. "Baby, you haven't slept yet." Just as she finished speaking, Little Bun, who was as still as a mountain on the bed, threw away the Rubik's Cube and ran over like a little whirlwind. He hugged her calf in an extremely practiced manner and raised his little head. His large eyes seemed to be electrifying as he stared at her. Ningxi clutched her chest, indicating that she had suffered a blow. Chapter 201. Seeing Ningxi, Lu Tingxiao looked relieved. "Are you done with your work?" "Yes, I'm almost done." Ningxi nodded, sat on the bed with Little Bun in her arms, and covered him with the quilt. Little Bun immediately picked up the colorful fairy tale book on the bedside table, which he had despised just now, and asked her to read it. "Do you want to continue reading from last night?" Ningxi asked. Little Bun held the quilt with his little hands and nodded obediently. "Well, let's read The Polite Little White Rabbit today." Ningxi cleared her throat and began to tell Little Bun a story. The hot summer is coming, the birds are singing in the trees, hot, hot. The beautiful little white rabbit is wearing a beautiful floral dress, humming a song, and hopping on the bridge. It wants to pick mushrooms on the other side. While Ningxi was reading the story, Lu Tingxiao sat on the chair next to her, holding his forehead, quietly listening to the sweet and soft voice of the girl in the night. He seemed to understand why his son had to listen to such a childish story every night to fall asleep. The important thing was not the content, but who was the storyteller. In less than 5 minutes, Little Bun was already sleepy. Ningxi patted him gently on the back, and the little guy quickly fell asleep. "Thank you." Lu Tingxiao thanked her. "It's no trouble." Ningxi said, looking a little emotional, "Lu Tingxiao, do you know? In fact, I used to hate children." "Hate?" Ningxi nodded, but didn't tell him the real reason. "Anyway, I just think that children are annoying, and I want to hide when I see them. But I never knew that I like Little Bun so much. I don't know what kind of feeling it is, but I always feel that there is a special connection between us. This is the legendary fate." Lu Tingxiao looked at her deeply. "In this world, nothing is impossible, but you haven't met it yet." Ningxi looked a little surprised, and replied vaguely, "Probably. It's getting late, I'm going to take a shower and go to bed." "Boss, you should rest early too." "Yeah." Lu Tingxiao nodded and suddenly leaned toward her. Ningxi jumped in fright and subconsciously dodged back. Lu Tingxiao was so close that he was about to touch her face, but he just walked past her and kissed the little bun behind her, softly saying, "Good night." Late at night, Ningxi felt like she had a dream. She dreamed that Lu Tingxiao was sitting on the edge of her bed, kissing her lips, and saying to her, "Good night, I love you." "Oh, I have this kind of strange dream again." It was clearly a dream, but why did it feel so real? At the same time, in Pearl River Imperial View. It was already late at night, but Ning Xueluo's apartment was still brightly lit. The atmosphere was extremely depressing. Chang Li and Kui Cai sat quietly in the corner of the sofa, not daring to make a sound. Now that things had developed to this point, They couldn't possibly vent their anger on them again, right? Who would have thought that Ningxi would sign with Shengxia Entertainment as soon as she was kicked out? If she had signed with any other company, it would have been easy. However, she was someone that Starlight wanted to blacklist. Even if those companies signed her, they wouldn't be able to promote her. But it was Shengxia. In front of Shengxia, Starlight Entertainment's blacklist was just a piece of paper. Chang Li wanted to comfort Ning Xueluo by saying that with Ningxi's current reputation, even Shengxia couldn't do anything about it. But she really didn't have the confidence to say that. After all, even Lu Tingxiao had come forward this time. Chapter 202. Not only had they underestimated Ningxi, they had underestimated her by a ridiculous amount. Golden Era's press conference at 9 a.m. tomorrow was like a ticking time bomb to them. Anything could happen. Golden Era had made such a big move right after Starlight's conference. It was hard not to suspect that this was premeditated. At the moment, even the fake reviewers were unable to reverse the public opinion. Everyone was waiting for the press conference tomorrow. It was estimated that all the media in the city would be there tomorrow. Ning Xueluo paced back and forth like a trapped beast amidst the debris. What's the content of the press conference? Can't you find any information at all? Chang Li shook her head. We've tried all sorts of methods. Only a few of Golden Era's higher-ups know about Ningxi. The rest of them only heard about it after reading Lu Jingli's Weibo post. There's no way for them to find out. What about Lin Jiji? Didn't she repost Ningxi's post? Obviously, she was Ningxi's agent. She must know everything. When Chang Li saw that Ning Xueluo was starting to lose her composure, she said helplessly, when Lin Jiji was still with Lung Manyun, we fought fiercely. We even snatched a role from her. How is it possible to get information from her now? Ning Xueluo was furious. This won't do, and that won't do. Are we just going to sit here and wait for the sun to rise? Chang Li really wanted to reply that there was really no other way but to sit here and wait. Ning Xueluo drained the remaining glass of wine on the coffee table. Her eyes flashed with ruthlessness. That country bumpkin. So what if they really entered the Golden Age? So what if they have Golden Era's support? Do you think you can rest easy after entering the Golden Age? Kui Keijing saw this and hurriedly took the opportunity to chime in. That's right, Sister Xueluo, as long as this stain is still there, she will never be able to lift her head high in front of you. Besides, there must be something going on with her entering Golden Era. I'll have plenty of chances to catch her in the future. Someone like her will drag Golden Era down with her sooner or later. The next morning, Pearl Hotel's banquet hall. All the reporters were ready, anxiously waiting for the main character of the day to appear. It had been a long time since there had been such big news in the entertainment industry. It felt like any piece of breaking news today could be the headline. In addition to the reporters at the scene, all the people who were concerned about this matter were also waiting in front of their televisions and computers to watch the live broadcast. The members of Golden Era took their seats at 9 o'clock sharp. In the middle was Ningxi. On her left was Lin Jiji, and on her right was the lawyer, Chen Jing. On both sides were the director of public relations, Liang Feixing, and Lu Jingli. Just this lineup alone had already killed countless reels of film from the reporters at the scene. Oh my god. Ningxi's agent is really Lin Jiji. This was a disguised announcement that Lung Manyun was going to retire. It was true. Why did Shengxia assign Lin Jiji as Ningxi's manager? Could it be that they want her to be Lung Manyun's successor? Why does the man on Ningxi's right look so familiar? Isn't this Chen Jing, the lawyer from the big economic case? And Liang Feixing actually attended the press conference in person. What is Liang Feixing? Even the general manager, Lu Jingli, is here. Fuck. This lineup. Absolutely amazing. It's the Lifetime series. That's right. Have you ever seen an artist of Golden Era hold a press conference like this? Chapter 203. Lu Jingli was the first to speak. First of all, I would like to formally introduce Golden Era's newest member, Ningxi. Ningxi stood up and bowed to all the reporters and cameras before sitting down. The cameraman took pictures one after another. Ningxi was wearing a black dress with heavy makeup. She was very suitable for a formal occasion like today. Lu Jingli continued, "Next, we'll have her manager, Miss Lin Jiji, answer all the questions about our Man Yun that the netizens are more concerned about." If this was in the past, anything related to Lung Manyun would definitely be the center of attention. But now, it had become a topic that everyone wished to end as soon as possible. Fortunately, Lin Jiji's style had always been clean and concise. She announced Lung Manyun's marriage and her future work arrangements in a few short sentences. She basically said that she would be focusing on her family in the future. This confirmed everyone's guess that Ningxi was indeed being groomed by Golden Era to be Lung Manyun's successor. At this moment, an impatient reporter urged, "We just want to know why Golden Era would sign an artist with such a bad character. Not only that, they want her to take over Lung Manyun's position. Aren't they afraid of destroying their own reputation by doing this?" The rest of the reporters echoed in agreement. Destroying their own reputation is considered good enough. This is like a rat's shit spoiling the whole pot of porridge. I'm starting to think that the higher-ups of Golden Era are under a spell. I'd like to see what they can say today. Lu Jingli exchanged a look with Chen Jing. "Leave the rest to our lawyer. Please remain silent." "Lawyer Chen?" They were still wondering why a lawyer was needed for the press conference. They looked at Chen Jing curiously. Chen Jing used the mouse to click on the laptop in front of him, and everyone heard a voice coming from the speakers. "It's not Ningxi. Ningxi did not bribe me. The one who paid me to do something to the sword is someone else. But I don't know who it is. I received an anonymous email, and the person asked me to do it. He even deposited 100,000 yuan into my account, and said that he would give me another 100,000 yuan after the job is done." The voice stopped. 3 seconds later, the crowd went into an uproar. Lu Jingli's gaze turned cold. "Please remain silent." The reporters held their breaths while suppressing their shock. Then, the big screen behind Chen Jing lit up, and 2 pictures were displayed on the screen. One of the pictures showed that the IP address of the anonymous email was actually Pearl River Imperial View where Ning Xueluo was located, and the other picture showed that the anonymous account was from Ning Xueluo's assistant, Kui Keijing. This time, the crowd could no longer hold back their cries of surprise. However, that was not the end. Chen Jing also released Ning Xueluo's injury identification report and the doctor's diagnosis report, which proved that Ningxi withdrew her strength very quickly at that time. As soon as she found that something was wrong, she withdrew her strength, so Ning Xueluo's injury was very light and she could be discharged from the hospital on the same day. However, Ning Xueluo had been hospitalized for a few days, and every time she appeared in front of the reporters, she acted like she was seriously injured and had lost a lot of blood. After that, Xueluo, Ning Xueluo, Chen, and Ningxi's, were, and the others, Chen Jing, the media, Chen Jing to the lawyer. Chapter 204. Compared to Lu Jingli, who liked to keep the audience guessing, Chen Jing's series of actions happened in just 3 minutes. He was very efficient. One atomic bomb after another bombarded everyone present. Liang Feixing suddenly realized that there was nothing left for him to do. He rubbed his nose and said, "All right, let's move on to the Q&A session. Ask away if you have any questions." The reporters were speechless. Why? Why are we asking questions? The plot twist was too fast. They did not even know what to ask. They had already guessed that Golden Era was going to clear Ningxi's name. They even thought that Zhong Qiong was bribed to frame Ningxi. However, they did not expect Ning Xueluo to be the one who bribed Zhong Qiong. Ning Xueluo was the one who directed everything behind the scenes. Could it be that they, the self-proclaimed righteous reporters, and the enthusiastic netizens who denounced Ningxi, had been fooled by Ning Xueluo all this while? It was extremely difficult for them to accept the fact, but the evidence was right in front of them. They could not deny it no matter what. After a long while, a hand weakly rose from the crowd. Liang Feixing signaled that he could ask a question. The reporter who raised his hand stood up and looked at Chen Jing. "I would like to ask you, Mr. Lawyer. How did you get the evidence? Is it legal? How can you prove the authenticity of the evidence?" Chen Jing, who had not said a word until now, glanced at the reporter and said, "My presence here is enough to prove the authenticity of the evidence." Ah! The reporter was speechless. After all, Chen Jing was an authoritative and professional person. He was indeed asking to be humiliated by asking such a question. In addition, the way we obtained the evidence is also legal. The police have already been secretly involved in this matter. Chen Jing's expression did not change as he said this with a face that looked impartial and trustworthy. All the reporters nodded, no longer doubting the legitimacy and authenticity of the evidence. Ningxi brushed her hair a little embarrassedly. She really admired Lawyer Chen. She herself had a guilty conscience when she heard this, okay? What legal means? The confession was forced out by her, and the evidence was obtained by Lu Tingxiao. No wonder she felt a sense of déjà vu when she first saw Chen Jing. Now she finally understood that Chen Jing's style of doing things was very similar to Lu Tingxiao's. Indeed, birds of a feather flock together. Then, the reporters began to recover from the shock and began to rush to ask questions. The reporter said, "I want to ask General Manager Lu, why do you spend so much time and energy to help Ningxi? Is there any special relationship between you and Ningxi like the rumors say?" Lu Jingli touched his chin. Of course there was a special relationship. Ningxi was his future sister-in-law. My relationship with Ningxi can be described in one sentence: bowler and 1,000 li steed. As for why I spent so much time and effort, of course, it was because I believed in my own judgment of people, and I believed that she was worth it. Today, I will leave these words here. In the future, you will know that this is the most profitable business I have ever done, and Xinghui will regret losing Ningxi. You're tuning in to the Dreamy Chapters YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.